time to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love.
Well. Good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my happy little voice or watching me on any social media stream via YouTube or Facebook, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Listen. I don't even know how I could use my office as a student. If you could see behind me on the ground, there's all this camera equipment because I've been packing my bags, and I have to pack 4 separate suitcases for 4 separate trips for the month of August. I'll be back in Philadelphia for the Lady B concert. That is the one day that I'll be in here jamming, and then I'm back out the door again. And I've been plotting and planning, and Jeff Bezos got a lot of my money. My husband was like, "What in the Samuel? Like, you got stock in Amazon?" But there's these last minute things that I needed to do, and so I'm super excited about taking off on some road trips and flying this summer for the month of August. Lots of people think I'm going on vacation. Let me clarify, I am not going on vacation. I am working. I am going to be working for the entire month of August, but knowing Mother, like you all know Mother, there will be times when I will have some levity and brevity, and so I can't wait to share with all of you. Look for me. If you're following me on Facebook, it'll start out like this. Good morning, America. And I have 2 sidekicks with me that are going to be doing my production, camera equipment, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to start the show this way because I have said this to all of you time and again. If you want to see good things happen in your life, if you want to see yourself moving into other directions, if you want to find yourself not getting stagnated, because one of the things that I don't do is stagnation well at all. I've always been a maverick and thinking through things my own way on my own terms while working with other people. And I've always believed that wherever I am designed to fit is where I will fit. And so I'm going to tell you this. Please don't sit around waiting for people to find spaces to fit you in. Don't sit around waiting for people to fulfill promises. Don't sit around waiting for people to keep, when you share things with them, don't sit around waiting for them to say, "Oh, well, I got you," because people will hear what you want to do and try to usurp your stuff. It's terrible. Not everybody has great feelings and thoughts and good ways about them, right? But I'm going to tell you this. Work hard. Work hard. And when you fail, get back up. Learn the lessons from the failure and get back up and continue to work hard. 10, 15, 5 years ago, people would look at me and say, "You can't, there's no way you can do the things that you're talking about doing." But I believed in the beauty and the power of my dreams and my capabilities, and now I am moving to go do some amazing things over the next 4 weeks. I will be back in September. I'm coming back to Philadelphia, but I'm laying the seeds and the groundwork for some bigger work that I have been wanting to do and have been given the opportunity to do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the month of August. The other thing I want to tell you is invest in yourself. As I was talking and planning, and you all hear me talk about vision boards. I have vision boards. I have vision sheets now in my living room. I was talking to some of the guest hosts that are going to be guest hosting over the next month with me, and in an interview later on that morning, I was telling them that I have 15 vision boards in my house. Every time I accomplish another vision, I would just another goal, I would just move on to another one. And at the top of each and every one of those vision boards is simply this: treat people well. I'm going to say it again. Treat people well. Oftentimes we think our money and our degrees gives us a certain stature over folks. But what people don't realize is while people may be kowtowing to you and telling you how wonderful you are simply because they want to get a picture with you, oftentimes those people are not very well liked, and they don't move, the needle in their lives don't move as quickly as they would like to because they don't treat people well. Never look down or disdain on someone because you think they're beneath your station in life. Nobody is beneath you. And quite frankly, we all have varying degrees of where we want to go and what we need to do, and so we must always treat people well. I have invested in myself. So when COVID happened and everything was shutting down, I called Troy and I said, Troy, what is the equipment that I need to have the best sound quality? He told me. I went out and I bought the equipment for the best sound quality. Cost me money. Did not ask WRD to give it to me. Did not ask them to reimburse me because I knew this was going to be my stuff. I can write the tax, do the tax write-off for these kinds of things. And then I began asking my media friends, what are the things that I need to do to get the best quality media coverage? And they told me, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. I got every piece of everything that I needed to do. Then I had another friend take me to a camera shop to get the kind of cameras and the tripods, and I've got a Mavo and I've got a Nikon. And so little by little began building up what I needed to do so that I would be able to move, groove, and shake and not have to wait for anyone to show up to say, oh, I've got this or oh, I've got that. So now I've got all my equipment and I can travel and do the things that I need to do to get the best quality work that I need to have. I didn't sit around waiting for someone to cover it for me. I didn't sit around waiting for someone to tell me that I could get it done. In my head was, if it's my dream and if it's my vision, then I have to make it a reality. So as I was making money, I was reinvesting back into my business. Instead of buying a brand new car every 3 years, that money was going into making sure that I had an LLC, not an LLC, because that was not much, trademark, copywriting, that stuff, which required having a lawyer, making sure I had a good public account. All those things made a difference, and I quietly worked. It's all starting to come to fruition, thank God, because I have learned how to, wherever I am planted, to grow. Wherever you are planted, don't sit and look at it as if it's something that is beneath you or you're only doing it for a certain period of time. I have been very uncomfortable in places where I have been planted, and I've learned how to take that plant, the discomfort, turn it into manure so that it can grow and so I can learn from it. Why am I so uncomfortable? What are the lessons that I need to learn from this, right? Where is this going? And so I'm sharing all of this with all of you very openly to say, this is my last day here for the month of July, and it will be, you will not see me for the entire month of August. For those of you who are following me on the social media pages, you will see when I pop up in the cameras. I am going to cover a film festival, and then I am going to do some other stuff, and then twice I'm getting on a plane, once at the very beginning of August, once at the end of August, and there's just some things that I need to do to move forward, to move the needle. It is also good to have a strong support system. I talk about my husband all the time. When I talk about people look at my husband, I'm almost 6 feet tall. My husband's shorter than me. He loves me in my 6-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch heels, which I've given up after COVID, by the way. But he supports everything that I want to do. And so he's now stepping over. I'm always like, Andrea, you've got this over here and that over there, but I'm packing so that I don't have to say, oops, I don't have, right? He made sure that my car that I've been driving since 2008, he made sure that wasn't me. I didn't go buy another car. That was my husband. He made sure that I had a truck so that I could pack up all my stuff instead of renting a truck. See what I mean? Investing back into yourselves and to your business. And we don't buy brand new cars over here. We make sure we get a good quality car that can get us to where we need to be, that can last for a lifetime. My 2008 car has maybe about 40,000 miles in it, and I mean driving like a dream still, right? So it's when you buy your cars, make sure you buy things that can sustain you over time. I am not here to impress anybody with any name brand, anything. I design all my own stuff, right? So I've saved a ton of money over the years, and I've taught my children how to save money, that paying your bills on time and good credit means the world. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to make mistakes, because we all do. We all get to this place where life happens to us and we're like, yeah, okay, I misstepped here. Let me just go ahead and get it done. But really, folks, at the end of the day, treating people well, and I do mean this with every fiber of my being, doors have opened for me that should have never opened because of the way I treated people and authentically treated people. So every time I see people going down the street and they say hello, even if I don't know you, I say good morning to you. When I'm on the bicycle trail, when I'm hiking, we say hello to everybody. You never know if you run into an issue that there may be somebody there to help you. If it sounds like I'm preaching to you, then that is not my intention. My intention is to teach you the lessons that I've learned so that you can do it. Because I am so tired I continually have conversations about people who got into seats of power, people who got promoted to whatever the position that they wanted to in a managerial level, and they treat the people underneath them like dirt beneath their feet. That is not what a promotion is supposed to be, y'all. It's not what it's supposed to, that's not what it's supposed to lead to. And so if you don't work on your core values, who you are as a person, then getting the promotion or moving up in life is not going to help you, because you're going to be the same sorry, I want to say stank individual, and I mean stank, not smelly stank, but stank in the way you treat folks, because you don't get yourself together, right? And so I'm going to stop talking now, because that's where it is. But this is my last day for several weeks, and I'm going to miss all of you. So I expect you to call in today and to talk to me, and I'm going to talk to you about the guest host. The first one is going to be Aja, one half of Kindred the Family Soul. Spoke to the guest host yesterday at length, talked to them about all of you. I told them who all the callers are, the ones that call all the time. I explained to them that I treat you all with dignity and respect, that I do not argue with my callers. If I disagree nicely, tell you why I disagree. I do my research. I tell them to be sure to have their pens and papers out, so that when you all tell them, look up this and look up that, that they go and they look up this and they look up that. I fully, and they're all good and all ready to step in and do the work. Because here's the other thing that I'm very clear about. None of us should think that we're irreplaceable. And none of us should think that we got to a place where we can't help others to move along the needle. I want them to do well when they come into this 1 to 4 time slot to talk to all of you, because you all mean the world to me. I fuss, and sometimes I get off the air and it takes me 2 hours to recover from y'all. When I get a combination of Prince, Woody, Tyrone, Maurice, and George, Father. But I love them, each and every one of them, each and every one of you that take the time to call in. It means the world to me, because it tells me that you care about something, you're invested in something. And even though it may seem like you're whining and moaning, and I'm whining and moaning, and I'm rolling my eyes, and I love you all. I love you all with every fiber of my being, because without you, there is no me. Without you, there is no WURD radio. If no one was listening, and if you all didn't take the time and you were not invested, this radio station would not exist. Having the wherewithal to start the bandwidth without having listeners makes no sense. And so it is incumbent upon us to treat everybody that calls in here well. Oh my God. So Father God. Anyway, moving right along. So my 1 o'clock hour is wide open, so y'all can call in and talk to Mother. Talk about. I wanted to read this to you first, because the cackles that I had reading this, and usually, there's still crime in the city. I'm going to talk about a lot of that, but I had to read this. Victor Fiorino wrote this. He said, the worst of Philly 2021, from fraudulent hoagies to Head House Square to Ben Simmons, the 20 people, places, and yes, sandwiches that made us utterly cringe. Victor Fiorillo. So I had to laugh. He said, every year since 1974, Philly Mag has published the best of Philly, the people, places, and things we want to lift up and celebrate, things that make Philly a better place. But to have proper balance in this system, to achieve the elusive yin and yang, we must also consider the dark side, the worst of Philly, and this, Philadelphia, is that. Worst thing about Wawa, the Wawa parking lots. Some people may think the worst thing about Wawa is the newish Wawa burger, which is definitely something you don't want to eat. But they would be wrong that is the worst thing. The worst thing about Wawa is its parking lots, which are inexplicably and notoriously dysfunctional. Some say the one on Belmont Avenue in Bala Cynwyd is the worst Wawa parking lot. Others have argued the worst Wawa parking lot can be found in Mount Airy, Avalon, Ardmore, the list goes on and on, and yet we still park there. Gotta have our Wawa. Worst reopening, Martin Luther King Drive. Only one of the benefits we as citizens derived from the city during the pandemic was the closure of Martin Luther King Drive to motor vehicles. Philadelphians, more than 5,000 of us on weekdays and more like 10,000 on weekend days, enjoyed countless hours of biking, jogging, walking right down the middle of the road, taking in Boathouse Row and the scenic Schuylkill without nuisance and potential danger presented by cars. But now, on August 4th, in a display of its usual level of lame-brainedness, the city will once again allow cars to dominate the roadway. The city has its reasons. We're not impressed. Enjoy it while you can. Worst person we can't believe we're still talking about, Bill Cosby. And all he wrote was, ugh. Worst simple thing that Philly just can't seem to do, pick up the trash. Don't blame the sanitation workers. Blame our elected officials and bureaucrats who can't even figure out how to provide the most basic of municipal services. Worst Facebook group, cheesesteak gurus. If your Facebook feed isn't already cluttered with enough mindless drivel, this group of close to 50,000 members offers around 60 posts a day. Why, Black Jesus? From self-appointed experts tediously debating, slobbering over, and posting mostly gross photos of the sandwich Philly made famous. And yet, if you badmouth a cheesesteak joint, you get suspended from the group. And any group about cheesesteaks that doesn't allow for trash talk is a group no self-respect in Philadelphia would want to be a part of. I'm trying to tell you. Worst all around. Ooh. I can't read this. Worst all-around mess up, Bruce Castor. It is kind of unimaginable how one person could, in the course of just 1 year, rear his ugly head as both the guy who essentially gave Bill Cosby a get-out-of-jail-free card and argued, albeit in the most massively inept way possible, in defense of Donald Trump in the wake of the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. And yet, there is Bruce Castor. Worst media fail, the Philadelphia Weekly's homicide count contest. We know they're starved for attention and publicity, but the one-time alt-weekly turned scummy rags guess the murders win a prize competition plumbed previously unseen deaths. Worst neighbor. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Worst neighbor, Edward Cagney Matthews. No, the worst neighbor of 2021 is not the guy you keep sending us tips on and posting about in neighborhood Facebook groups because his dog keeps pooping on the sidewalk in front of your house. Yeah, that guy sucks, but there are bigger problems in this world. The caught on video racist white guy in Mount Laurel among them, and this honor goes to him. Worst still on display statue, the Christopher Columbus Monument, Father. Worst athlete, Ben Simmons. They calls him a $30 million a year atrocity. Worst sandwich, the Flower Show's grilled veggie hoagie. Why? Worst letdown, the Cicadas, Brood X my behind. Worst person at the Jersey Shore, the Flag People. Worst decision in Harrisburg, the go-to cocktail ban. What do you do when everybody is stressed out? Bars and restaurants are struggling and people just want to have a little fun? You get rid of our rummy roadies. That's further proof that politicians, Republicans in this particular case, hate us. Worst government decision, Philly fighting COVID. The worst renovation, Head House Square. They actually wanted it to look like this, and I can't tell you that. Worst Philly stat, COVID vaccination rate. Worst city council person, Bobby Heenan. Worst PPA screw up, the $7,000 tickets. Oh my God. Just when we start to hate Philadelphia Parking Authority a little bit less, we hear stories like this one. Worst corporate co-opting of Philadelphia attitude, Gucci's $390 Philadelphia Everybody t-shirts. Good Lord, he is hilarious. I need to meet him. I don't think I've ever met him yet. But that was it for him. He talked about the worst parts of Philadelphia, and I thought that was interesting and funny. As all get out. So, let me just make sure that I'm doing this properly. Mike, I'm going to miss you and Brianna. Not going to have anybody to call and say, can you? Well, I have a team coming with me, so I'm not going to be by myself. But you and Brianna has been my yin and yang for over a year, and I really enjoyed the both of you. So right now, the time is now 1:20, and the temperature is 78 degrees and cloudy. And the temperature check is sponsored by SEPTA. From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still still honoring that WURD 10% discount, give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to to The Source. Well, I didn't look over at my messages from Michael, and I just realized that Prince and Woody called in. So I'm about to get 2 of my favorite people on. Prince, how you doing, honey?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
So I'm also taking off for the whole month of August.
Oh, why, Prince?
I'm going to focus more on the NAACP. So I'm not going to call
Got you.
at August at all. So,
okay.
So it'll be 2 people that, that they won't hear.
Won't hear from. Hey, Prince, listen, I went to get involved with the Youth Council or AXO. So once you all get settled, let me know what's happening, because that's the place where I find that I can take or leave the adults, but the children, the young people, I'd love to be able to get more involved with the NAACP now that the leadership has changed over there, and see how I can support. Now, if y'all ain't doing right, I'm going to talk right.
Well, I think everybody should be held accountable, so we appreciate that. But I just wanted to maybe leave your listening audience tomorrow with a number and a location that they can go to, because we've been able to, out of my office, because I'm a ward leader in the 61st Ward, and we've been able to get people the rental assistance money for the people living inside of their property that had gotten stimulus money for the last 18 months. So we've been able to draw down some of that money from Harrisburg.
Right.
I'm not name calling. I'm only saying that there are council people that are just not doing the due diligence. So I'm not going to call them lazy. I'm not going because I don't know their motive of operation. So but the constituents, the ones who own property in West Philly and Southwest Philly, if you want us to overstep the boundaries and help and support you with the paperwork so you can get the money for people who have been living in your houses getting stimulus checks while you still have to pay a mortgage, then we can help you, we can assist, or we will be willing to assist you on that.
Okay, how can they reach you, Woody? How can they reach you for assistance?
Well, I say tomorrow I'll give you a number and address, because I need to make sure that all of the constituents that we've been helping that's in my ward are taken care of first.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
And so what I'm
Woody,
not going to do is...
Woody, no, I'm calling you Woody. Hold on, Prince. Hold on, Prince. I know. Hold on, Prince, because Woody on my head. I can almost hear Woody talking to me in the background already. Once I shut down the airwaves tonight on WURD, I'm not checking any WURD anything until the end of August. So you wouldn't have to send a message to me either through somebody. You know how to reach me.
I'll send it, and you'll get it to the necessary people. I just don't want two things. I don't want. This is not an offense to whoever you voted for. I can care less about that. This is me helping you get money, so it won't go back. Okay. And so you won't say that that you didn't get it because you need this kind of assistance because you've had someone living in your property for almost 18 months and stuff like that. Now, I'm getting it from the Republicans, so you just need to know that. Okay. But I'm going to make sure you get it. So I'm not going to refer you to your Democratic council people. I'm going to show you the same paperwork that they get. I'm going to have my staff do for you. Okay. Okay. So that's what I don't want. I don't, because we're doing too much of this party line stuff, and the resources are not getting to the people who need the resources.
So Prince, let me be clear so people can understand. If you are someone who owns a home and you've had renters living there, not because there's a moratorium on evicting people, but there's also money that came down from the federal level for renters assistance for the people who have not been getting their rent, that is what you're working on doing, correct?
That's it. Yep, that's it. Yep. I can get you. So as long as you can prove through your lease that they've been living in your property, and if they've received any stimulus payments, then, and we also help you evict them too. So you need to know that part too. So the courts are open, and they are doing evictions. So if you didn't get paid and they got paid, and you can prove that they got government subsidies, then you can have them evicted.
So here's the thing that just came out at 10:45 this morning. Biden calls on Congress to extend eviction ban with days until expiration. I just want to see, this is why I can't. All these little things. The White House called on Congress to pass an emergency extension of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's eviction ban on, with 3 days left. On Thursday, 3 days.
Andrea,
Jesus. Sorry.
He's asked for that. He's asked for that, but it hasn't been approved or passed.
No, because he says, given the recent spread of the Delta variant, including among those Americans most likely to face evictions and lacking vaccinations, President Biden would have strongly supported the decision. So, the Supreme Court has made clear that this option is no longer available, she added. And so, Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of people homeless this Christmas, and they're going to be homeless of their own of their own doing. Because they chose not to. People got up to $20,000 or more with stimulus money, and they didn't pay their rent. And so, once again, I'm only asking for people who are homeowners who do need this kind of subsidy. And we'll do all the paperwork for you and make sure it gets to Harrisburg. You know, because it's just unfair, and it's a bit incompetent for people to say it's tedious and it's cumbersome when it's your responsibility to make sure that these people get some assistance. That's unfair. So we're willing to help. I'll get the information to you, and then that way it won't seem as though, because I rarely grandstand. I try to be in the back scene as much as I can. Right. But this is important to people, man, because they just had people live. You know what I mean? You know how mad people are to see somebody living ghetto fabulous on their terms and not paying them rent.
Right. Yeah, we talked
about this. That's my soapbox. I'm going to get off the phone. I'm going to let other people get on the phone with you. Thanks for taking my call. Have a safe trip.
I will. Thank you,
and
Prince.
we'll talk in 30 days or something.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. You know, Prince brought up a point. We have a financial segment that we air twice a month, and this past Monday, Demetria Davenport was on talking about that very thing, that we're getting these monies, especially the child tax credit. And one of the things she said at the very beginning was this: when you get those monies, before you go and do anything else, make sure you pay your rent, catch up on your rent, catch up on your electricity, catch up on your water, your gas, all of that stuff, because that moratorium is not going to extend forever. And when landlords see that you're doing your best to catch up on your stuff, not only are you building good credit, right, you're able to make sure that you're not behind the 8 ball when all that money cuts off. So he makes a good point there. If you're getting the money, at least don't sit around and say, well, I don't have to pay my rent. That's irresponsible. If you're getting the money to do such a thing, do what you need to do to make sure that you can stay where you are, right? And that's really what we're asking for, versus just taking the money and blowing it, because nothing lasts forever. And if your rent isn't paid, what are you going to do when they say we gave you X amount of money? Or even better yet, we tell you this is what you can do to have your rent paid, right? We can. The government is going to be able to pay your rent. Work with your landlord. Say how much money you owe. The landlord will say how much money you owe. If you come to an agreement, they'll fill out the paperwork, and the landlord will get all that back rent money on your behalf. So all you have to do is just a few simple steps where the landlord can get their money, even if you don't want to take your stimulus monies and pay them. You see what I'm saying? So it's a win-win for you. Just do the right thing. Woody, how are you, my sir?
Are you sure you're there, or am I just dreaming?
Well, after today, you're going to be dreaming for about 31 days.
I tried to call you yesterday, but I couldn't get through. I just had people coming, and have one young lady that's 95 years old. She drove up in her own Toyota car and got out and got her hair done. Boy, I'm just telling you, she's 95 years old.
Yes.
To look at her and to see her moving, so on her way out, I said, you're so beautiful. You got to watch yourself now, because there's going to be some guys blowing horns when you go out. So she was happy at 95 years old. That's what I see you as. You know, you're going to be that way because you're always giving and you're always sharing. You know, so much, and that's what makes you such a great mother. Now, in my describing of people, I've always associated an animal with a person's personality. Your animal to me would be a swan. See, a swan has to fly. It has to move. You can't keep it closed up. It'll sit on the water for a while, but in a minute, it's going to take off and fly. So I had to understand that about you. A little upset at first. I could take a whole month off, and she going to get away, and everybody going to be. But see, by the time you get back, you're going to be so happy. You'll be able to sit on the pond for a long time.
For a little while. There
and let folks look at you and talk to you and have something to say. Now, I'm not going to stay long because I know my buddy Prince. I want to give him a thumbs up for getting into the NAACP and Ms. Hicks, who is now the president. I just want him to focus more also on this issue of literacy. 30% of Philadelphians are illiterate. That, to me, is a crime floating around that nobody's addressing. And, of course, I'm going to talk to you about that. Hopefully, you're getting ready to leave now. I don't want to pile you up, but this is something we're going to have to do something about, because if 30% of Philadelphia's a big place, that's a lot of people. So some people can't go on the computers if they can't read. So they're going to have to start leaving phone numbers. That would be my advice to the Prince and also the NAACP, to make sure that they do that, because there's a lot of people that just don't have computer skills and they're computer illiterate. So keep that in mind, particularly for the blacks that went to these inner city schools. Now, last but not least, I was thinking about my buddy Cody Anderson. He, to me, if I had to describe his personality in an animal, he would be an elephant. An elephant is a huge animal, and everybody knows the president when it walks in the room. But it's not out to hurt anybody. You see what I'm saying? As big as it is, it could crush everybody, but it's not out to hurt anybody. That's the way I've always saw Brother Cody, and I did an article, and I think I sent that article to you. Hopefully you can check it out. It came out this month for this month's edition. GoHomePhilly.com. It's on page 82. But I sent you an actual copy of it sometimes today. So I know you've been busy. You probably didn't get a chance to check it out. But please do that. And I want you to have a wonderful trip. I don't want to hold up the line. The reason I called so early is I made sure I got through. But I wanted to make sure while you're traveling and where you're going, I want you to always remember who loves you, baby.
And Mr. Sanders is probably somewhere listening going,
well,
what?
I
love her more.
I want him to hear it, because he understands where I'm coming from. He's a South Philadelphia brother, so he knows exactly where I'm coming from. So just want to let you know where I'm coming from as well. So I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful trip, and I want you to make sure you spread your wings everywhere you go.
I will.
Take time to
You
sit
don't
on
have
the
to
water.
worry about that, Woody. I'm going to spread these wings.
That's
Trust
right.
me.
Take time to sit on the water and think about Woody, okay?
Okay, Woody, I remember that.
All
You
right.
have a good summer,
All right.
okay?
And
I'll
don't
talk to you
forget,
when I
check
get
your
back.
mail. It should be up there. It's a big picture of Michael Jackson and myself and
Yes.
Cody Anderson, all right?
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Bye-bye.
much. All right. Bye-bye. Oh, Harry Williams said, Mother, a beautiful Black Panther. Yeah, see, I see myself. Thank you, Harry, because I really do see myself more as a Black Panther. I don't want people to think I'm just graceful and pretty and flying every once in a while. There's some My husband said, Lord. My husband heard every word that Woody just said, Lord. So, Brother Gary from Chester, how are you, sir?
How you doing, Andrea?
I'm
Andrea, I love
doing.
this show. I love
Thank
this show.
you.
I'm a first time calling your show, but I really enjoy your show.
Oh, thank you.
Now, Andrea, I know you're a communicator, and you write a lot of good articles. I read a lot of stuff. Now, here's my question to you. I'm an older guy. Here's my question. Young people have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. What's the other one they on? Twitter.
All of them, yeah, Twitter. Mm-hmm.
My question is, are they better communicators?
Actually, they're worse communicators.
Oh, thank you
They're
for
worse
taking my call. Thank you for taking my call.
Wait a minute. You don't want to go any further with it?
I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay, Brother Gary. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So when we are online and we're having these kinds of conversations with people, I notice folks are real brave when they're behind a keyboard and they're talking all kinds of yin and yang and da-da-da-da-da. It takes a conscious effort to really think through what is it that you want to say and then to convey what you need to say in a way that is not offensive, because, you know, what some people may think is okay to say may be offensive to a large group of folks, right? And then you also have to be savvy enough to build an audience, a platform, a brand. It's just not enough to just get on social media and just talk a bunch of stuff. You have to be intentional about the things that you post about. If you're really good at it, it seems like you're just out there talking. But you just can't. I've met people in person after meeting them on Facebook. I'm like, yo, it is better for you to stand in front of someone, to get on the phone and speak to someone, or get in front of someone and have a good conversation, because what they do behind the computer screen shows up when they're in interviews, and when you see them in person, they don't speak well, they're not enunciating. It's a lot, and they think it's okay. And especially when you're in leadership or you're ascribing to be in leadership positions, there's just certain things that you have to do differently, and you have to carry yourself a little differently. But when you're behind the keyboard and you think it's okay, and you put up a bunch of memes and you're always sharing. When I first got on Facebook, people were sharing a bunch of fights. I unfriended every person that kept sharing all these fights. I unfriended people that didn't have nothing to say. Before I put you on my page, this is why I'm so far behind on looking through my friend list, because I go down each and every person's page to make sure this is someone I want to talk to and I want to see on my timeline every day. The last thing I want is garbage in, because if it's garbage in, garbage is going to come out, right? And so I tell folks all the time, and if I offend you in any way and you don't like what I had to say, please hit the unfriend button. I promise you I'm not going to miss you. Because I have so many other things to do. I don't check to see who my friends are. I put up my posts and then I go about my business for the day. So, you know, I have to say, nah, you're not more intelligent because you're on what I see showing up on in the spaces, especially in these spaces, especially for young people, is that their creativity shows up. And we are the most creative people on the planet. But then again, I keep saying, you're sharing your creativity and somebody else is watching with money, going online to make sure that you're not trademarked and taking all your stuff. You put up these beautiful logos and you put up all this wonderful stuff that you're doing and you put up your ingredients and you just don't think about the fact that everybody is watching you and taking your stuff. And once they take your stuff and they trademark your name and trademark your logo and trademark your product, they can write to you and say cease and desist. So you put in the work and they reap the benefits of it after you've created the brand. So we have to just be a little bit more savvy in thinking about these things. All right, so the closer I get to 4 o'clock, I get a little sad because I love y'all. I do. I really enjoy talking to all of you. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. We will be right back after these messages.
The hottest place to hang out this summer is the Dell Music Center. The lineup is lit. Thursday, August 5th, 10. Who can make sweet love, not me? SWV. And Drew Hill. Then on August 12th, Gregory Porter, Stokely, and Leela James. Then on Thursday, August 19th, Fresh Off versus the Isley Brothers. Performing all their greatest hits with Kelly Price and Carol Riddick. Get your tickets at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. This is going to be an incredible season with Tank, SWV, Drew Hill, Gregory Porter, Stokely, Leela James, Carol Riddick, Kelly Price, and the Isley Brothers. For more information, log on to the DellMusicCenter.com.
Hey, WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If I sound a little deflated, it's because I just got some news. Some weeks ago, I met with Tiffany Diana, who was telling me about, I went to meet her for something. She owns Art and Soul in West Philadelphia, and that was the last place I saw Leah before she passed away. And went to get something from her, and she was telling me about a young lady who was 25 or 26 by the name of Shanice Richardson, who was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer, not sure where the cancer came from, and they told her that she was not going to live much longer. And so she enlisted my help, and we got together and we talked about how we could raise funds for her. She wanted to go to Disney World. Things she's just never seen. She never made it to, she passed away on Tuesday. And so when I don't even know if Tiffany realizes that I'm on the air right now, because oftentimes when people text me, they just send me things, not thinking. And I ask my friends, my sisters and my friends, I tell them, I said, don't text me anything crazy while I'm on there, because it really, but thank you, Tiffany, for letting me know. And, Shanice, for those of you who donated $500, $250, I think Tiffany raised like $9,000 to get her where she needed to go. And so she left here. She died at least experiencing some of the things that she wanted to. And this is the stuff that I'm talking about. This is why I say that it should not be that difficult for us to love on one another and treat each other well. So rest in peace, Tiffany. Shanice. Oh, God, my brain. And every time I talk to Tiffany, I think about Leah, who I still can't believe actually died. But I've got to tell you this. Leah Dawes died a week after she and I saw each other at Tiffany's tour. And it has spurned myself and the lady that was with me, Angela Costin-Jones. The two of us was with her that day. Every day that we get up, we are intentional about how we take care of ourselves in honor of Leah. Leah died from blood clots in her legs. She kept complaining that she had pain in her legs, and she called her doctor. Doctor told her to come in. No one ever thought to say, go to the emergency room. And so she was walking around like this for days, and then the blood clot moved, and that was the end of that. So my vibrant friend, who none of us thought would be gone, is now gone. And so when I say this, when I come on here and I tell you all, get up and walk 2 minutes, walk 5 minutes, start by walking 2 minutes. And then you walk 5 minutes, and then you walk 10 minutes, and then you walk, and you just slowly, you don't have to join a fancy gym. Anywhere that you can get out on your feet on a good pair of sneakers and just walk, it helps your body to feel and look and be better. You know, if for those of you who drive and you know, park somewhere farther and walk a little bit farther back, all of those things are helping us. We're slowly dying here in this country from stress. From the food. The food here is ridiculous, and not everybody here can afford to buy non-genetically modified. Every time about this non-GMO stuff, a lot of our food is genetically modified so it can grow faster, so it doesn't have seeds, so that it can last longer. And our bodies were not designed to be eating genetically modified food. And so, you know, all these things. And so when I hear 21-year-old, 26-year-old, a 30-something-year-old that hiked with me, and she might be 34, 35, I don't know, Ashley, who, you know, was pregnant and ended up having a tumor on the right side of her brain. It was in the hospital for a year. Y'all, stress is killing us. Stress is killing us. And we have to get to a place where we have to think about decompressing. So when I say, come out and walk with me, come out and take a bike ride with me, it's not to exercise you to death. Yes, I am over the top because I do things far and wide, and I'm flying over boulders, and I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you to come out and just take a deep breath, especially with the walking. Take a deep breath and figure out something other than, you know, whatever the hell is going on in your life at the time, you know, because we all have things going on in our personal lives, and it gets to be a little difficult. And so rest in peace, my sister Shanice. Just rest in peace. She never made it to 30. Right? And many of our sons and daughters, if it's not cancer that's killing them, it's the violence in this city that's killing them. What are we going to do? You know? And this is why I need a break, y'all. I need a break. I need a break in these Wakandan streets. I need a break. All right. So my next guest is at 2 o'clock. So if you want to call in, call now. I'm telling you. And at the 3 o'clock hour, I have space to talk to all of you. I wanted to read this. David Leonhardt, the New York Times, The Morning. Vaccine mandates are on the rise, and they will probably have a bigger effect than the mask mandates. For the people, you know, momentum for vaccine mandates seem to be building, which could ultimately matter much more than any mask-wearing guidelines. Facebook, Google, and Netflix all said yesterday they would require many employees to have been vaccinated for COVID-19, with limited exceptions for medical or religious reasons. The companies joined Morgan Stanley, the Washington Post, and several other high-profile private employers. Several local governments, including New York State yesterday, have announced worker mandates that cover a few million people combined. In most cases, people can take a regular COVID test instead of being vaccinated. More than 600 universities have announced the mandates for students or employees. California State, the country's largest four-year public university system, joined the list on Tuesday. Many hospitals have also have mandates, including the sprawling Veterans Health Administration and the Mayo Clinic. Perhaps the biggest new rule is scheduled to be announced today from President Biden, covering millions who work for the federal government. These high-profile announcements make it much easier for other organizations that have been considering mandates to go ahead. Their leaders no longer need to worry they will become the subject of national attention for enacting one. Still, vaccine mandates remain the exception. The vast majority of private companies have not required their workers to be vaccinated, nor have almost any major company required their customers, like airline passengers or theater goers, to be vaccinated. One hurdle companies say is the FDA's failure to grant the vaccines full approval despite strong endorsements by the FDA's leader. Mandates, in short, may be the most significant COVID response that the country has not yet really tried. And so I just want y'all to know, because for those of you who are still, it's so interesting because they kept saying that this was, you have an option. You have an option. But I knew it was only a matter of time before they were going to say this is no longer an option. So you're going to have to be vaccinated to get into certain events. Watch and see. Just mark my words. The time is going to come where you have to show that you are fully vaccinated to be able to access certain things, places, and it feels good right now, but it's coming. It's coming, so I need you all to know. He also says here that real anger is brewing. Mandates are controversial, obviously. Many Republican officials oppose them. Ohio has passed a law restricting school mandates, and Florida has banned businesses from requiring consumers to prove vaccination. Given this opposition, vaccine mandates are never going to be national, but they could become much more common, and the Delta variant has led more politicians, business executives, and other leaders to consider them. Several weeks ago, COVID appeared to be receding on its own. Vaccinations were rising and cases were plunging, but the combination of lingering vaccine skepticism and the contagiousness of Delta has caused cases to surge. Many Americans are now unhappily pondering the possibility that a return to normal life remains months away. The CDC is telling some people to put their masks back on. Businesses, including Google, are delaying plans to bring workers back to the office into the autumn. Parents are anxious that schools will not fully reopen this fall, which would almost certainly cause more academic and psychological damage for children. Many parents are also worried that children are too young to be vaccinated, remain vulnerable to long COVID. The primary cause of all these problems, many experts say, is the large share of Americans who are unvaccinated, about 1/3 of those eligible. The biggest cost of their refusal fall directly on them. They are risking their lives, but vaccinated people also pay a price through restrictions on daily life and the increased chance of future outbreaks which could produce vaccine-resistant variants. My God. I think there is some real anger brewing out there among vaccinated folks that's not getting much attention. David Neer, the political director of Daily Kos, wrote, my colleague Ronnie Karen Robin reported, many inoculated Americans are losing patience with vaccine holdouts. Kay Ivey, Alabama's Republican governor, was harsher. Time to start blaming the unvaccinated. Vaccine mandates are the policy manifestation of this frustration. They effectively tell the unvaccinated that their decision is hurting others and that society has an interest in pushing them to change. They can refuse, but they will pay a price in loss of access to a job, a college campus, or other shared experiences where they may infect other people. Yeah. Fully vaccinated people. Now, I didn't say one vaccine. I didn't say part vaccine. Fully vaccinated people from the United States and most of Europe will be allowed to enter England and Scotland without quarantining starting Monday. Senator Mitch McConnell plans to buy radio ads promoting vaccines in Kentucky, and the federal pandemic aid will cut the number of Americans in poverty by a record 45% this year. So those stimulus checks have been helping. The Senate voted to take up a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, with 17 Republicans joining Democrats in clearing way for a crucial piece of Biden's agenda. The bill would pay for roads, bridges, broadband, electric vehicle charging stations, and more. Finally, we just seem to be behind the 8 ball when it comes to that kind of stuff. My God. Michael, it's 1:54. Tell George to call me back at 2:40, please, because I have a guest once I come back from break, and I don't want to keep him holding that whole time. Kirsten Sinema said she did not support the $3.5 trillion bill for social and environmental programs, likely forcing other Democrats to scale back that proposal. And, of course, there's the Olympics, and, you know, I don't know how many people are following the Olympics. We don't seem to have much interest here in our household, but maybe other people are watching. Yes, Joanne Kemp says, I'm stocking back up for the same shortage that occurred last year. It's going to be the same thing. I agree with her. Right now you can buy masks, 100 masks for under $10. I'm going to suggest to all of you, get your masks, get your wipes, you can buy them in huge supply now. Continue to stay stocked up. We're still stocked up in our house. I still carry Lysol in my car, the spray, the Lysol wipes in my car. I have 100 masks sitting in different parts of my car so I never run out. And whenever I go into buildings, I put my mask on. If I'm in a crowded space, I put my mask on. All of that is necessary because there are breakthroughs for the Delta variant. People don't realize that when things start to build and build and build and it keeps mutating, it becomes out of control because there's just some people who just don't want to listen. And so here we are again. I can't deal. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
They're back.
Everyone's ready.
Platinum Shows presents the Dell Music Center Summer Series. Sunday, August 1st, it's Jeffrey Osborne. On the wings of love. Peebo Bryson. I'm so into you. And Regina Bell. Then Sunday, August 15th, it's the Basement Party with Big Daddy Kane. Baby Cool Mo D. EPMD, Nice and Smooth, the Sugar Hill Gang with a Furious Five featuring Grandmaster Melly Mel and Scorpio, Roxanne Shante, and Tough Crew. Then Sunday, September 5th, Labor Day weekend, it's the Party in the Park with the Whispers. Stephanie Mills. And After 7. Tickets available at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. For more information, log on to ppshows.com.
Stage Door, focusing on arts and culture in and around Philadelphia. Hosted by Tiffany Bacon and co-moderated by Jeffrey Page of the Philadelphia Theater Company. Part of The Source, Fridays at noon, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Sponsored by New Voices sponsor Comcast, NBC Universal, and Pico.
What grows in the forest? Trees? Sure. Know what else grows in the forest? Our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our family bonds grow too. Because when we disconnect from this and connect with this, we reconnect with each other and build family memories we will carry with us forever. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. It's easy. Just put in your zip code to find family-friendly outdoor destinations near you. You'll also find guides to free activities, games, and amazing forest facts. Give the magic of the outdoors to your kids and reconnect with your family. Find a forest near you at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Be there this Friday at the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour as Tiffany Bacon broadcasts live from the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, from 10 a.m. till noon, and stand with WURD Radio to amplify voices of the Black community as a digital WURD member for as low as $5 per month and receive a free gift for signing up. That's this Friday at the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, or visit WURDradio.com. Start or renew your WURD membership today. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. This is our segment where we talk about race, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And so I see a new face here. Boy, I can't wait to have this conversation. Let me go ahead and introduce him because I was reading his bio and I said, oh, I need to read more than a sentence of this. Marcus Moore is an immigrant, activist anthropologist, and he's German-born and Georgia-raised. A black storytelling teacher, his energies feed a clearly stated purpose to know freedom and to teach it. By trade, he is the principal of Nia Palmares, LLC, and the RZA of EquityParlor.com, where he coaches individuals and organizations to accelerate the movement towards racial equity. He is a highly skilled facilitator and master teacher. Creative to the core, he finds new ways to share established ideas and add to those catalogs. He's also a demanding space partner. He earned his diploma from William H. Spencer High School, a BA in African American Studies from Emory University, a Bobby Jones Scholarship from the University of St. Andrews, a Future Faculty Fellowship from Temple University, and a Chancellor's Fellowship from the University of California, Berkeley. In the fall of 2021, a master's degree in organizational leadership from Gonzaga University will go on that list too. And over the course of all of that classwork, the most learning came from his 5 years as a middle school teacher in Oakland, California. He is here today to talk about something that we have been dancing around and dancing around and dancing around. Critical race theory. Father God, in the name of the matchless name of Jesus, I'm going to need y'all to anchor yourselves down. Welcome to The Source, Mr. Moore. How are you?
I am feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Were you warned about me?
I was told about you. I was told to anticipate having a good time, and I was told to do some serious work that doesn't take itself too seriously.
That's right. That's right. That's right. She hit the nail on the head. So welcome to The Source. I am going to need, Deborah, I'm going to let you, because Deborah is my friend. For those of you who are just watching Deborah and I for the first time, I met Deborah when I became a member of the National School Board Association as a delegate for Pennsylvania in 2012. Walked into the room, saw this bad sister leading all these board members down a hallway somewhere, and I just stayed connected to her. And so it only stands to reason. When we talk about relationships, Deborah, every part that I've moved into my life, I've somehow found a way to incorporate you and the work that you have done, right? And so that's what real relationships look like.
Absolutely. And it's always you're my shero anyway. And so, usually I start talking at the beginning, but I am giving all my time right now to Marcus, because I'm just glad to be in his presence again with the work that we've done for Courageous Conversations around race. I'm just pleased. It's almost like, Marcus, can I touch the hem of your garment?
Well,
I'm just so glad to be connected.
I just want to thank you, Marcus. Listen, Marcus, I just want to thank you for joining us, because let me tell you something. In the last several months, I have been either invited to school board meetings or I've been watching them online where parents have gotten on and screaming, we don't want critical race theory in our schools, and it's going to teach our white children are going to feel offended and feel like they have to be guilty for what our forefathers did, and can't we just all get along, and does it have to come to this? And I'm so tired of talking about this, because they think critical race theory is designed to destroy a certain group of people and elevate another group of people. So, right. Sir, today with your, I don't know, what is the significance of the thing that you're wearing around your neck? Because I feel like it has some significance.
This thing that I've got around my neck, this is a Coptic cross. So let's use that as a starting point into critical race theory, all right? So maybe you and some people went to Sunday school way back when. And on those mornings, you were taught a particular gospel about how Christ works in life, about how to interpret the Bible, about all of those things. Critical race theory says, yes, indeed, that is a particular story. But the central tenet of critical race theory asks the question, what does race have to do with this construct? What does race have to do with this system? And so I believe in a Christ who works in particular ways, right? But I know that the Christ that I have met in my adulthood is not the Jesus that I met in my childhood. Turns out there are many Jesi in many houses of the Lord all over the country. And when I discovered some of the politics behind some of those others, I said, you know what? I don't find myself at home here. I don't find myself welcome here. I found myself welcome in Imani Community Church in Oakland, California, where Reverend Dr. George C.L. Cummings is our pastor. He comes to us from a tradition known as Black Liberation Christian Theology, which is to say it takes a particular perspective of the Black American experience and uses that narrative, which is a key word in critical race theory. It uses that narrative to investigate, study, and apply the gospel in particular ways. That means we come to understand our being in particular ways. The cross that I'm wearing around my neck is one that I discovered deep into my adulthood. And so you were kind enough to read my biography. It said I got a degree in African American studies, and I studied under incredible instructors who gave me all sorts of skills, ideas, and knowledge. But through the course of that work, through a premier department at a premier institution, nobody ever told me that under the great pantheon of Christianity, many folks are familiar with Baptists as a type of Christian, as Methodists, as Episcopalians, as Catholics, and all those. Separate from all of those traditions is a Coptic tradition. And the Coptic tradition comes to us. We'll take you back to Sunday school. Remember way back when Philip the Evangelist met an Ethiopian eunuch, had a conversation, got baptized. Well, that Ethiopian eunuch went back to, surprise, surprise, Ethiopia. And in that place, developed a new tradition, a whole new sect of Christianity that is indigenous to the African continent. The Christianity that I learned in my childhood was a Christianity that had made its way through a series of political maneuvers through the continent of Europe, through the middle and through and across the Middle Passage, through missionaries, through colonialists, through evangelists, all of those, and it came to take a particular form. The Christianity that I knew as a young person was one that came through Europe. The Christianity that I discovered as an adult was one that never left Africa. And I'm not fully versed in all of the tenets of it. So don't come to me for expertise on that. But I celebrate and I acknowledge and I feel protected by the notion that such a thing exists. And I feel startled that throughout my education, through all of its forms, nobody ever told me there was a Christianity that was indigenously African. How did I not know that? How did one narrative take place over this other narrative?
Yes. So I grew up Catholic. Every time I tell people that, they're like, what?
No, your accent gives it away.
So raised Catholic, went to Catholic schools, went to the confirmation, all of it, right? I remember going to a Catholic funeral last year and did all the recitations, and they were looking at me like, but you black? And not realizing, because we expect us to fall into certain boxes, and I stunned them. And as I became an adult, Catholicism didn't sit well with my soul. But I got to tell you, and I mean, we're kind of veering off of critical race theory for a minute, but I got to look up Coptic, because I was just saying to someone, today's Thursday? 4 days ago, Marcus, that I somehow don't fit in to the stuff that I am being told I need to fit in religion. And so I literally sit in churches and I look at some of these pastors and I'm like, yeah, nah. You can feel that something is missing there, and that they're reciting what they've always recited, and there's no filling of us as a people. And that's just another story for another time. But I'm going to look up Coptic just because that thing on your neck was what got me to ask. I'm going to look it up to see what that is about, because people think that when you don't follow their way, you're not following the teachings of Christ. You have to go through certain premises to do the teaching. So then that brings us back to the critical race theory. Why are people so angry? Or are they using critical race theory as the scapegoat to not have African-American history in schools, the things that we need to have?
So this is challenging, right? And in the diversity work that I do, I caution people against creating constructs of us and them. Because when I talk about them, I can pick and choose this particular action and this particular actor and wrap it up and call it applicable to everybody. We know from our lived experiences, humans and groups are far more complex than that, right? So what they want to do with critical race theory, I don't know. Some of the trends I have seen, so some of the applications, and this is not to everybody, some of the applications demonstrate a particular concern with change This is where my studies in organizational leadership I find particularly valuable, right? We have seen that in the last, let's call it since 2008, when something historical happened, a grand concern with the situation of racialized power. Who has authority? Who has control? Who gets to determine what the narrative is, right? Back to the original conversation. Who gets to determine the curriculum of Sunday school as the narrative? When we are talking about critical race theory, we're finding the battlegrounds in institutions of education primarily, right? So who controls what the story is? In many of these movements, what I see happening is not necessarily a fear of change, because people don't fear change. I promise you that. If a change came my way and you handed me a winning lottery ticket, I would not be afraid of that at all. And I wouldn't say, no, don't let that happen. I welcome the change. Actually, I'm projecting, that's a hypothetical, I'm not for sure. But if anybody doesn't believe me, you can give me that lottery ticket and we'll run the experiment, see what happens, all right? People don't fear change, people fear loss. And this is where some of the thinkers and the philosophers that talk about corporate evolution in the Harvard Business Review and other such sources, they talk about a loss of 3 critical things, and all 3 of those are at stake in this contest over critical race theory. The loss that people are concerned about is a loss of identity. Who am I under this new system if all I know myself to be is under this old system? I don't want to lose that. Second loss is to loyalty. My relationships to other people, to my professors, to my teachers, to my pastors, to my friends, to my politicians, all of those things, I feel comfortable and stable in them. How do those relationships get transformed by this new shift to a new way of being? And third, and very vividly in critical race theory, is a loss of competence. I'm very good at doing what I do right now, but if you're asking me to do and know some other stuff, well, I don't do and know that other stuff. And so I don't want those changes. Much of the protest we've seen has showed up in a very cliche way that people say, I don't want critical race theory, and then fail to define what critical race theory is. What they are protesting in many instances, not universal, watch out for the universal they. In these examples, what people are protesting is that change, is that loss behind it. And that's why people become so vocal and so pseudo-intellectual in their arguments.
So if you could describe critical race theory in one sentence that everybody could universally understand, what would that be?
Critical race theory means looking at the world and asking yourself the question, what does race have to do with this? Period. Right? In the name, critical race, like let me be critical of how race is showing up. And we can look at that question in a number of really trademark episodes, right? The ways in which I was taught that in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, that whole thing, that's the lesson that I learned. A lot of other people learned it. Critical race theory says, all right, now what does race have to do with that? Right? And the answer shows up, well, we weren't taught that Christopher Columbus's navigator was a Black man. And when I'm thinking about explorers,
I am just learning that right now, 2 seconds ago.
Like the person who actually made the boat go that way was a Black man. A lot of people have heard, and rightfully so, that when we credit Christopher Columbus with discovering the Americas, it turned out there were a couple million people already there to say hello. So he didn't discover anything. Critical race theory says, what does race have to do with this particular lesson? Right? And this is an easy out-of-the-pocket example that people can understand. And people are more comfortable with that example precisely because this is something that happened 500 years ago. Oh, yeah, we can push that way back there. But when we start looking at critical race theory in a very contemporary way, people start to get shook.
And so give me some examples of that, please, because when I tell you we need to really delve deeply into what this means and why people are, I love that you gave me these 3 examples: loss of identity, loss of loyalty, and loss of competence. They don't fear the change, they fear these 3 losses. And that makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. Okay, so as you move from 500 years ago to modern day, give us a modern day example. Can we use African American history being taught in schools as one example, or no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things I talk about in my equity work is this field of practice called culturally relevant teaching. And culturally relevant teaching, in a nutshell, asks us to look at the ways that we show up in the presentation of the lessons and what we are asking young people to learn and identify. Now, whose standards are these living in? So by now, I think a lot of people have heard this notion that standardized testing is culturally biased. And whether you agree or disagree with that assertion, this is a particular line of thought and a line of discourse that exists in the world. So let's start there, because that's a place where I can go back to my childhood in a very vivid example, right? I want to let you know that this notion of cultural bias in testing is one that is deep and saturates the way that we do and practice education, right? Teachers on a regular basis are asked to quantify the most unquantifiable thing in the world, which is learning. So on a regular basis, educators say, you are a 73 at science, you are an 85 at math, you are a whatever it is, right? And that has its relative impacts on people's identity. Well, in order to figure that out, we need some sort of instrument to do that. I told you I was going to go back to my childhood, but let me go back 100 years before that. The reason we have standardized testing today, Leland Stanford, who is the namesake of Stanford University in the Bay Area, California, prestigious university, was a diehard eugenicist, a scientist who believed that we could measure and quantify the differences between racially categorized people. And one of the ways he wanted to do that was through the development of what we know as the IQ test. If we can come up with a way of measuring how smart one group is versus another group, then we can say which one is smarter and which one is not. Surprise, surprise, the people who made the test are the smartest people. There's a particular narrative, there's that word again, narrative, in how we construct this science, right? Fast forward, that same IQ test has a direct straight line to the SAT that we use to this day to determine how people get into college. Standardized testing carries with it cultural residue. Every lesson that you learn carries cultural residue. And while people have been more intentional about shaving off some of that racial bias, cultural bias in the test, inevitably it will be there. If the question is written in English, that means it is culturally biased toward those who can read English. Because every test that we encounter, even when they are translated into other languages, first they start in English, and then we get somebody to translate them. Never, ever the other way around, right? On top of that, if we look at how these tests are constructed, if every question carries with it cultural bias, then we have to ask the question, why is that cultural bias always pointing in one direction?
Right.
So contemporary example. If you're applying to grad school out there because you are sitting around in the quarantine saying, you know what, I can do better, know better, let me get some degrees behind my name, I'm going to apply to grad school. I thought about doing the same a little while ago, and the rules have changed since I was a young man. It used to be you have to go out and take the GRE, one of those fill-in-the-bubble tests. The new fill-in-the-bubble test is called the Miller's Analogies Test. And your analogies are, way back when, A is to B as C is to D, right? And you got to figure out what the relationship is. They give you the first relationship, you figure out the second relationship. And so a practice question, because I went looking for the practice questions online, practice question says, Georgia is to Atlanta as Pennsylvania is to.
So that would be Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is don't say Philadelphia.
Atlanta is the capital of Georgia. So the capital of Pennsylvania would be.
Isn't it Pittsburgh?
No.
What is it? It's what?
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Man, why
Pennsylvania,
did I think
Harrisburg.
Jesus, y'all forgive me.
Yeah.
Harrisburg, I
Now
spent
look
so
at that.
much time in Harrisburg, and I just never saw it as the capital. We always saw
neither.
Pittsburgh as the capital. Isn't that
And
something?
look at that. Just like that, you can't go to grad school. Ta-da!
Just like that.
Because you weren't thinking about it.
And
right?
I'm smarter than the average bear. At least I thought I was.
And so now we're considering, right? Like
Yes.
who names that this capital or this small city in the state is the most important one, and for what reason, blah, 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 right? If you're able to find that question, fine. The other example I found, it said Mark Twain is to Samuel Clemens as Voltaire is to fill in the blank. And I was sitting there stuck on it. So first you got to think about what is the relationship between Mark Twain and Samuel Clemens? It took me more than a minute to remember it's the same person. Mark Twain is the pen name of Samuel Clemens, which is the government name, right? This is the question that you got to answer in order to get into grad school. But I tell you, I have never, ever, ever, ever seen the test that said, all right, we're talking about pen names? Let's go with pen names. Question says, Sean Carter is to Jay-Z as Sean Combs is to
P. Diddy.
Actually, that's incorrect. The answer is D, all of the above. We're looking for Puff, Diddy, and P. Diddy. So there you go. You can't go to grad school no more.
This is so ridiculous.
You just stuck. Notice the question never asks us about our contemporary Black artists who we might know. Nina Simone is not Nina Simone's real name, right? The question that we might be clued in on, that's not the one that you're going to get. You got to go to Samuel Clemens because that's a particular construct. Critical race theory says, wait a minute, what does race have to do with this test? Whose standards and in what way?
Hold on one second. I have to take a quick break. This is so fascinating to me. So fast. And, you know, you literally have flown right into the nest of what I've said to people all the time. You are never I've arrived too much to learn. You can always learn every single day, all the time, from different kinds of people everywhere. Right? And so this is wonderful, Marcus. Hold on one second. Let me take a quick break. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. And I don't have an accent, Marcus. You're wrong. 215-634-9065. 8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
So many times we say to ourselves, I need to make a difference. Well, your chance is here. Center in the Park is holding a virtual volunteer event Friday, August 6, 2021 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Advocate for those who can't, support those who can, and ensure all long-term care residents live with dignity and respect. Register for this Ombudsman event at info@centerinthepark.org. We all feel better when we do something that matters and when we do something with purpose.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
Using food or grocery delivery services like DoorDash, Grubhub, or Instacart proved to be a valuable lifeline for some during the pandemic. And even as the country opens up, food delivery is still very popular and shows no sign of slowing down. Here are some tips to make sure your next food or grocery delivery goes smoothly. Typically, the best time of the day to order groceries is first thing in the morning, but on most apps, you can schedule your delivery in advance, so take advantage of that feature to help avoid long wait times. Make sure you leave clear delivery instructions for your driver. Provide cross streets, landmarks, or a description of your home if necessary. And leave detailed instructions for your grocery shopper by specifying preferences in the comments in the app. If you're concerned about security within the app, use Apple Pay or PayPal as your payment method instead of storing your credit card information. And of course, make sure you tip your shopper or driver for their hard work. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at WURDradio.com.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have my every Thursday with Deborah Keys Wright. We talk about not critical race theory.
No, we couldn't do that every week.
We talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, racial constructs with board members, superintendents, educators, and most of all about our children. And today, because we've been dancing around this topic, we're discussing critical race theory. And we have here Marcus Moore, who's an immigrant, activist, anthropologist, German-born and Georgia-raised. And he has literally, I feel like school is in session. Because he makes us think, and so he was describing why critical race theory is what it is and how we miss so many things as it applies to it, because what does race have to do with any of it? And then he talked about, applying for grad school as an example, and the questions that they asked even had me. Now listen, I've been to Harrisburg 1,000 times. I can't stand that little city. I often wondered why Harrisburg was the center of the capital of Pennsylvania when Pittsburgh is there and Philadelphia is there. This little nondescript place that nothing happens there. I mean, it's the seat of the government, but when you get outside of the government walls, it's just like nothing going on there. So nobody wants to hang out in Harrisburg. Forgive me, Harrisburg, but that is the truth. So the question I have for you now, Marcus, and thank you again for joining us and describing this so wonderfully and in such an easy way for us to grasp. Tiffany McIntyre wrote here on Facebook, I was told by a white man that they didn't want CRT, critical race theory, taught to their children because they didn't want their children to feel guilty by what happened to blacks in history. I've heard that quite a bit. So why do they have to feel guilty? Why do they think their children should feel guilty about what happened in history?
I think what would be useful here is to operate with a distinction between responsibility and fault. Right? So I'm going to start with the casual example that a lot of people can understand. Used to live in Philadelphia, first on 23rd and Catherine. It looks different 20 years later. I used to live on 18th and Fairmount. It looks real different 20 years later. All of those things. But here's what will happen on a regular basis. Wherever you are in your neighborhood, you do your best to keep your lawn clean. You move all the stuff out of the way. You keep the hedges, you shovel your pathway, all that kind of stuff. But one day you wake up and you find somebody's empty bag of Doritos is sitting right on your property. And there it is. Look at it. Trash on your yard. Not your trash, but trash. It is not your fault that there is trash there. But it's on your yard. And if it's going to move, you got to be responsible for it. So you got to go outside and pick up the trash. I do this on a regular basis, and a lot of folks can understand, right? So a fault and responsibility, two different things. Let me give you another contemporary example of what happens when we start to ask the question of what is race doing. Critical race theory was born at Harvard University in their law school. The professors there said there are a number of laws on the book that don't say anything about race. And yet, when we put those laws to work, we find a racially disparate impact. I'm going to take you back to 1978, which happened to be a really good year. It was when my mother found a twinkle in her eye that became me. 1978, Ronald Reagan is governor in California. And at that time, property values in California are on the rise. Because of that, property taxes are on the rise. And because of that, people who have paid off their mortgages in full, living on a fixed income, are now subject to the repossession and dispossession of their homes because they can't afford higher property taxes. That's the way it is. The legislature says, you know what, we're tired of having grandmothers being put out by the sheriff on a regular basis. So what we're going to do, we're going to change the rules on how property taxes are assessed. Proposition 13, the law in California said, we're going to fix the adjustment of property taxes based upon the purchase price of your home. That means you will be able to calculate what your property taxes will be this year, next year, and reasonably in the years ahead. It's going to be attached to the purchase price of your house. And not only that, We want to be real kind to these homeowners. So if you bought this house, you have this house, you live in this house for 30 years and you pass away, you bequeath it to your family members, they inherited, they get not only the house, but the tax rate that you were paying.
My God.
They live in it for another 30 years. They pass away, they give it to, I guess, your would-be grandchildren.
Right.
Your grandchildren get the house and the property tax levels, and on and on and on and on. The law said 0.0 about race. The law said this applies to everybody who owns a house.
Right.
Critical race theorists said, wait a minute. In 1978, racially, who was owning houses? Now, here's where it gets real, real tricky, and you get a whole lot of clapback about it. Because, yes, there were Black homeowners in 1978. Oakland was full of them.
Yes.
West Oakland as a place of a Black community and prosperity and middle-class survival, absolutely. And the overwhelming majority of homeowners in 1978 were white. White homeowners have white kids who have white grandkids who inherit.
Mm-hmm.
Today, in 2021, California is quickly becoming a majority-minority state. That term is problematic, but we're here to talk about a whole lot of things, so we're going to acknowledge it's problematic, and we'll tell you why on the next episode.
Yes.
So now a whole lot of brown-skinned people are entering the housing market.
Mm-hmm.
The law that was passed in 1978 said if you buy a house brand new, you pay the property tax levels on the sales price of that house today. So if I inherit the house, I inherit small property tax. If I buy the house, I get big property tax. And throughout the state of California, we have next door to one another, condos, townhomes. You live in unit 1, you pay this much tax. You live in unit 2, you pay that much tax.
Right.
It's not your fault
Right.
that you're paying teeny tiny tax.
Right.
But if we want to talk about racial disparities and where the money goes and who is paying for the schools, the roads, all the things that taxes pay
Right.
for, yo, that's us. That's not you.
Right.
That's a contemporary thing, right? And so people get real upset. They say, well, I didn't do that. It's not my fault. But they are completely content. Actually, let me take that back. I imagine there is somebody who is completely content to pay lower property taxes and not match the taxes of their neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I don't want to feel bad about it.
Right.
I also don't want to pay those high property taxes.
What a great analogy to critical. Your guests keep getting better and better, Deborah. Listen, if somebody comes now after watching this and say they don't understand why critical race theory, I get it. I love it. I love it. Fault versus responsibility. Fault and response. I love it. 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 Okay. Okay. All right. So what do you think now, based on what you see happening in school districts around the country and the people who are fraught with worry and concern about critical race theory? Do you think it will ultimately be taught in schools, or does it belong in schools? Tell me what your thought processes are around that.
I was never taught critical race theory. I got a degree in African American Studies, which is critical race theory. Right? So why do we need a department of African American Studies when we already have history and we already have sociology and we already have religion and we already have English? And these are all the courses I took across different departments in order to construct this notion. It's because those departments are concerned with those topics. Those departments don't emphasize those topics. So let me take a short detour and get back to the heart of your question, right? On a number of college campuses, we have what are known as distribution requirements. And they say before you graduate, you have to take one class out of this box and one class out of that box. Before you leave, you need to take a math class, a science class, a history class, blah, blah, blah. And there's a whole lot of movement to make a class about racialized history or the history of identities in the United States and in the world on that list. Before you leave this institution, you have to take Ethnic Studies 101 or whatever it is. Here's what happens. As soon as we say Ethnic Studies 101 is responsible for teaching all of this racialized history, that means no other class in any other department has to pay any attention to race at all. because we've checked the box. Look, we talked about race, we're done. So we can go back to talking about philosophy by talking about all white men who had some ideas. Good ideas, worthy ideas, worth analysis and interrogation, but they don't complete the pantheon of ideas. So what is the future of this? I struggle to see how anybody can make a solid contest of this, right? To turn around and point and say, hey, you taught critical race theory, when nobody ever, unless you are in one of those Harvard University Law School classes, goes down the list and says, this is what critical race theory is. And that does not happen in kindergarten.
There you go.
It doesn't.
Yep.
But in teacher prep land, and there's one last example I want to give you because it's so vivid, right? Critical race theory says, pay attention to how you manage your class. I used to be a middle school teacher, and from time to time, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and 13-year-olds would not do what I wanted them to do. As a Black man, I'm on your Zoom machine right now. When I stand up, I'm 6'4". Middle schoolers are not 6'4". When they're doing what I don't want them to do, I tell them to stop doing what they're doing. I say, sit down. Now, among a whole lot of Black people, that's a very common way for children to get dealt with. You're acting up, I'm gonna tell you what to do and you're gonna do it. That doesn't mean that every Black person gets treated that way, or every Black parent operates that way. But it's common enough. Meanwhile, for my white students, they found this very startling and very aggressive. Mr. Moore is very mean. He told me to sit down because they are accustomed to being asked to sit down. Would you please sit down?
Yes.
And where I'm from, you don't give children yes or no options. You tell them what to do and they do it, right? So that's how it shows up. Critical race theory says, no, what does race have to do with classroom management? Simple as that, right? How do you ever prove that this was a critical race theory act? I don't know. And even while all this is happening, all of us need to be in touch with our own heritage and the histories and legacies of other groups. It doesn't do me any good to know all about Black people and nothing and nobody else. It doesn't do white people any good to know all about white people and nobody and nothing else, right? And across the board, any identity you want to put in the middle of that sentence. And so that challenge to be robust in our learning, challenge us to broaden our learning, which some of that happens at school, and some of that happens when people listen to WURD. That's what
Lord,
happens.
I don't know if they were ready for this. Well, this was wonderful. Marcus Moore, thank you so much. I have 3 minutes left here. I'm going to give you 1 minute to tell me what was the pivotal point in your life that made you decide to go down this pathway?
Once upon a time, I was a student at Emory University, and Dr. Janetta B. Cole, the former president of Spelman College, joined the faculty. Her class was the most popular class. I found a way to get into that class. There are 110 people in the class, and the class is called Anthropology of Friendship. And I'm like, anthropology, I don't care what it's about. I'm gonna be in that class because I gotta be there. And we come to study how relationships are forged and what they look like and all of these other things, taking a whole lot of different investigations of them. Week 8, we get to the readings about relationships, friendships between Black men. This was back when I was doing my homework extra early. So class is on Thursday, I finished the reading on Monday, and I said, wait a minute, this is something about this writing that is not, it doesn't sit well with me. I went to office hours and said, yo, this is what we're talking about for Black men, and on behalf of Black men, because I thought myself to be representative, I am not, I'm just one. I don't see myself in this. And Dr. Janetta B. Cole listened to me very patiently, and she said, you know what, fine, you teach the class. And so I did. And in that place, I was able to stand in front of my peers and my friends and talk about what I was seeing and what I was studying, the questions that I had and the questions that they had and the answers that they wanted. I was in a place where I was able to explore ideas and share ideas, and it felt good. I decided that I wanted to do that, and I owe that to Dr. Cole.
Yeah, what up? Deborah.
I know. I told you.
Thank you so much, Marcus. You've got the folks here going, wow, thank you. Thank you so much. You have given the best analogies, the best descriptions we have ever heard to date around this whole critical race theory, and that it's not something that's supposed to be frightening to us, that, you know, we need to learn from this and just really implement it in our everyday lives, you know, making sure that there's parity and fairness, and learning about not just one group of people, but all the people that makes us whole, who we are as whole people. And that was wonderful. Deborah, you've got 1 minute. This was so
No,
good. Thank you for advocating your time. I really appreciate you giving me all day.
We needed to have this discussion, you know. And all I have to say is, you know, educators are required to educate children about history. And it's not acceptable to erase our history. And if you didn't understand critical race theory before you tuned in, I bet you understand it now. It's very clear.
They're telling
very
us to
clear.
Can we bring him back? Can we
Absolutely.
bring him back,
Thank you so much, Marcus. Would you like to come back again?
I would like to come back. This is so much fun.
Thank you, Marcus. We appreciate it. And we won't always just talk about critical race theory, because, oh my God, oh, I love it. They're like, bring you back. Wow, they loved you. So thank you so much for. I love the calming way that you explain things. That got people to open their ears instead of being defensive, right? So that was good. That was the way to do. Loved it. Thank you both so much. I look forward to talking to you guys in September and beyond. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Oh, that was so good. 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 Stand with WURD, the only black-owned talk radio station in Pennsylvania. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the black community. Show your support. Join or renew your forward membership today. Visit wordradio.com or call 215-425-7875. Join today. This is The Source. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634. I see all your messages all over the place. You're texting me. I see it on Facebook. I see it on YouTube. I get it. Thank you all so much. This was really good. We're very intentional about giving you what you need to get on this show. Not about the popular things that everybody's talking about and the yin and the yang and the fun. No. We're talking about learning, educating, growing our mindsets, and doing things differently from the way we've always been told we are supposed to do things. Growing our minds each and every day. We'll be right back after these messages.
The holistic colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the prep. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
Join WURD Radio for the 10th annual Black Star Film Festival, happening online and in person August 4th through August 8th. Enjoy over 80 films from around the world, as well as panel discussions and a daily morning show, virtually at blackstarfest.org. In Philadelphia, join us in person for free nightly screenings at Eakins Oval, August 3rd through 7th, opening and closing parties, and an all-day series at the Man on Sunday, August 8th, concluding with a screening of HBO Max's Eyes on the Prize, Hallowed Ground. Black Star is the premier film festival highlighting Black, Brown, and Indigenous artists. For tickets and information, visit blackstarfest.org/festival. WURD Radio is a proud media partner for the 2021 Black Star Film Festival.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Save the date. Thursday, August 26th for WURD Radio's annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. This year, we'll be both in person and virtual. Stay tuned to WURD Radio and WURDradio.com for more information. That's Thursday, August 26th for our annual Founders Day celebration. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, you missed a riveting conversation around critical race theory that was described in a way unlike anything I had ever heard anyone say before. And so what I want you all to think about and to consider is this. As people are jumping up and talking about they don't want critical race theory taught in their schools, I need you to stand up and calmly say to them, we're asking to be that all of our history is to be acknowledged. That when we're looking at literature, that we talk about different folks that are authors that are writing, that we look critically at the things that are being shown to us and given to us, that all our children need to be exposed to all aspects of our society, not just take the race theory, critical race theory out of it. It's just teaching every part of who we are in all aspects of how we learn in school. Mathematics is probably just about the only thing that is steadfast, and you don't have to, and parts of physics and chemistry, all of that. We have created, black and brown folks and indigenous folks have created things that have just never made it into into our equations, into our history books. And so, it's all about teaching everybody everything that they need to learn, not just some parts of what we think they want to learn. People are focused on history, but it's really in our writings, it's really in our teachings, it's the literature and the books that our children are asked to read time and time again, without looking at all facets of what we have to offer to our children. So that was really, 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 really good. And I hope that as you all listened, you got something out of this, because we can spend a lot of time pointing fingers, but my God, to elevate your mind and to think through things a different way makes all the difference in the world. It does, right? You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time, which is why when our black and brown babies leave K-12 institutions and they're not expected to do well and they go on and become PhDs or medical doctors, my 22-year-old niece, let me say that again, my 22-year-old niece just passed her boards and is now a medical doctor. A medical doctor. She's getting ready to start her internship and is going to do plastic surgery as her major. My nephew, her brother, who is 2 or 3 years older than she is, he's 25, is going into his final stages of orthopedic surgery. And so there's brilliance in us. You all sit around thinking that we can't do and we shouldn't be able to do. And listen, when I tell you, but we didn't just wake up brilliant. We were taught to think critically. We were taught to see and look at things differently from all lenses, from all aspects. We were taught to not just point fingers, but to learn, seek to first to understand instead of always wanting to be understood. Those are the things that makes us who we are in our family. And one more thing, everybody that was in those medical classes, we prayed for all of them. My sister stood up and said, if this one didn't have food, we're going to feed that one. We're going to make sure that one has somewhere to live and to stay. We take care of each other. It's a village. It's not, oh, I'm making money and I can do this for my children. Your children are just going to have to do well or suck salt. We looked out for everybody. That is a premise that I brought here to this country with me. And so when I see people being selfish and constantly just thinking about themselves, it goes up one side of my nerve and come down the other. There's just some things I can't do with some of you because it's just too much. You just don't think. And when you don't think in terms of collectively and only singularly, we get the kinds of mess that we continue to have happen here. George, how you doing?
Fine, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. What's up?
Everything you've been saying since you've been on the air is so true. Let me say this first. I don't think your guest's going to be 1/16th of you, and to follow the way you do things, which I think most followers should do what the host do, or one in the similarity, it will be nothing like it. I mean, you won't get no answers. It'll be loaded with guests. I'm just not a guest person because Guests don't spend money. Guests don't bring real information that's really beneficial for you or to you. I mean, just, it's like, to me, a selfish thing where you bring people in to promote yourself. Not saying you, because what you do is let people explain themselves and have to come with real information and not try to sell a book or sell, some kind of speaking engagement.
Right.
Let me
Oh,
move on to
Jesus.
what's really
Father,
important.
let me say this, George. Speaking of that, I did tell the guest host to be very light on guests and make sure that they take time for you all. I was very clear about that because you all need a space. So I did that. Okay?
Andrea, you did something that most people have been quality stuff in radio for a long time. They don't understand what two-way talk is. Talk radio is about talk radio, not about guest radio. I mean, they have really messed the whole talk. That's why some stations make a lot of money and other stations make no money, because they stick to the premise of what it is. It's called talk radio. People want to know what's happening in their area, what's going on. Advertisers, all they're interested in how many calls were there, how many people did this, how many people did that. They're not interested in, I had 15 guests here, but how many calls did you have? How many people listened? A lot of things, a lot of factors play in it. Let me also thank, the people, especially Dorisha Miller, because she was one of the ones that did the same thing that Prince did this morning. They were out there getting people signed up. So like the person, I like these people, her name is this, they made sure that money went directly to the realtor, the people that owe the money is owed to, not just the check sent to them, where they can go buy shrubs or, Jordans or go rent a car. So foolishness, and they get evicted. Believe me, come Saturday, they're already hiring people to do clean out. There are going to be a lot of people on the streets, a lot of people, because they already went to the court. And if you don't believe it, you can have Michelle Bilal come on and here in Philadelphia. They got thousands of evictions to put people out, and they're going to put them out because they've been waiting for all this time. Now, they're talking about this moratorium ain't going to happen. And this stuff here that Helen Gem did, Helen Gem's trying to run for mayor, so she's going to say everything. Her office did no more than any other office could have did. Go online, look up some stuff, tell you whatever it is they got to tell you, you keep it moving. But Dorisha Miller, former Sheriff Joe Wynn, and Councilman Blanton, she did it out in West Philly this morning. I thought they was giving away food this morning, the way people were lined up. She had people out there doing paperwork for people. They had a computer out there.
So that State Rep Dorisha Miller was out there helping her people, making sure that they had what they needed. She's been doing that. I can't understand how that she was State Rep up there, and she's been doing this here for months, getting her people money for their rent. Right.
Now, why is it that the state, that's right, the other state rep said that the paperwork was too complicated. But all those lightnings up in the Northeast and out in the county, and all the Republicans here in the city, they've been like, they don't talk about it. They just go ahead and do the work.
Right.
I mean, Joel Williams, he was a sheriff. He wasn't no person that does that. He had a bunch of people, when I went past where he was at, he had about 50 people waiting for people to come in there and, get their paperwork done for their rent. One thing about black people in this city, they always wait till the last minute or there's a crisis when they're about to be put on the street. They want things done. But some kind of way, Joel and Councilman Blackwell had some kind of direct way. I don't know, because I wasn't there that long, but that's not my thing. I just want to see it. But they had a direct input in getting the people, their stuff sent to whoever's supposed to be sent to. They check it out quick and everything goes through. But everybody has a different way of doing things the way they do it. So, you have to give credit where credit is due, and you have to beat those down who don't do their job. One other thing I did, I met with some lawyers today that with the right to know. Now, I put in a request for the last 12 or 13 years for every elected official, state and city, who's had sexual harassment charges brought against them, and what did the city or the state settle for? I mean, so, we're going to have a roll call on who settled, who didn't settle, how much money it cost, and how much money it didn't cost. You'll be surprised at the people in this city that has had sexual harassment charges brought against them, and it was never brought up. It was quiet. It's like when people in this city want to go after you, they bring up all the dirt they can, but wait till their turn comes, because their turn is coming. I promise you, I promise you, their turn is really coming.
Yeah,
and
yeah. George,
also,
I tell you,
Andrea,
yes.
up at the prison, you really need to deal with somebody in the administration, which I'm going to try to do when you get back, is that I don't understand how is it that the prison, they can sit there and sell their membership out the way they do, because if any guard say anything about what's going on in the prison, where the guards that got beat up by inmates or inmates that died in like 3 days. Every day there's a guard that's sent to the hospital where an inmate that either broke their arm or, they beat them up, stomp them or whatever. But they never talk about that.
So you know what?
Now,
So
that's
here's
a
what
sorry
I'm
union. That union they have, the prisoners union and the full of the prison, they're the worst. That's why they
So
have a big
I know how
turnover
to I know how to get in touch with some of those guards. I've had conversations before. I'm going to reach back out to some of my connections to have some of those dialogues, because I believe from the ones that I had before that this was going on, but they can't speak openly. They have to speak on the condition of anonymity because their jobs and their livelihoods are at risk. But everything you have said to me, what I'm saying to you is everything you have said to me has been verified by actual guards at the prison system.
That's why I be the voice for them. They have a sorry union membership. I mean, they pay their dues. They do all that. They got to be subjected to ridicule and abuse by inmates. And then if they take the inmate. Now, listen, I'm not against inmates. If they've been there, understand how it is in there. But an inmate doesn't have a right because they're outnumbered to go in and beat a guard up for no reason. And then the administration go along with what the inmate did to the guard. And the union don't say nothing. They just sit there being quiet. So one thing is I always do, I be more than fair. I always go to the union rep and say, listen, straighten this out. Well, I'm going to straighten this out. But I know a lot of them got to sit up there and kiss Kenny's butt because that's what they do. They so happy to be in his office. Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Mayor. We with you, Mr. Mayor. We understand, Mr. Mayor. He don't respect that garbage.
Yeah. All right, George. So listen, I gotta, George. It's 2:56, and I gotta go. So I'm a minute over, but behave yourself while I'm gone. I'll see you in September, okay?
Well, September can't get here fast enough. In fact, I might take a vacation.
Bye, George.
See it being like you.
Bye, George. See you later. Bye-bye. You are listening to The Source. Brother Spread Love, I know you called in and you didn't have a minute to talk to me. Call back, please. You were listening to The Source 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year, we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, Northwest, and South Philly. I'm Tiffany Bacon, and I'm broadcasting live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Our next stop is the J.L. Wright Recreation Center on July 30th. Enjoy live performances, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your WURD membership on site. That's the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour at the J.L. Wright Recreation Center from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. WURD. Showing love this summer.
Catch Tiffany Bacon this Friday at the J.L. Wright Recreation Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue. The WURD Radio Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Comcast and supported by Pico, Keystone First, and Ready Set Philly.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Pandemic COVID-19. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious time. You know, we are at a strange time in our lives when we have to make decisions, really important decisions about our lives and the lives of our family and our friends and neighbors and strangers. And you know, making decisions like that is no play. So I'm going to say this little rap for you. We call it a poem or a rap. I hope that when I'm finished saying it, you'll be able to say it also. Pandemic time, the vaccine is free. Get your vaccination as quick as can be. The Delta variant may be a new concern. Be willing to take time. Be willing to learn. And I'm going to tell you something. We all better be willing to learn, and we all better be willing and ready to take that vaccine. This is no playtime. And I would say from the bottom of my heart, amen, amen, and amen.
Be there this Friday at the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour as Tiffany Bacon broadcasts live from the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, from 10 a.m. till noon, and stand with WURD Radio to amplify voices of the Black community as a digital WURD member for as low as $5 per month and receive a free gift for signing up. That's this Friday at the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, or visit WURDradio.com. Start or renew your WURD membership today.
Tune in this Sunday at 5 p.m. for the Money Matters Show, providing information about transferring, accumulating, and preserving your wealth, with host Walter Watson.
This is WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio, streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. We're in the final hour for this episode for me. And I just want to let you know, this just in from ESPN by Jake Trotter. NFLPA President J.C. Tretter ripped the NFL teams that are forcing their unvaccinated players to wear wristbands, calling it an unnecessary move that publicly shames players. It is a nonsensical idea, the Cleveland Browns Center said Thursday. They say they need a differentiator between vaccinated and unvaccinated players. We already have a differentiator. The unvaccinated players need to wear masks. No other sport league uses any sort of scarlet mark or helmet decal or wristband because they know it's not necessary, and the team knows who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated this week. The ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that the NFL and the NFLPA remain at odds over the use of wristbands to identify unvaccinated players. So that's where we are with that. Lord, so much is going on. It is 3 o'clock. If you want to call in, please, you have until about 30 minutes after, so we can talk. This from the Philadelphia Tribune. Michael D'Onofrio, Tribune staff writer, says this: Kenny won't mandate COVID-19 vaccine for city workers, but won't rule it out. Why do they always do this to me? Every time they... Keep me logged in, Tribune. Keep me logged in. Mayor Jim Kenney will not mandate COVID-19 vaccinations for city employees, even as some staff have already been called back to in-person work and virus case counts rise in Philadelphia, while New York City and California have put in place vaccine mandates for their public employees. The Kenney administration continues to rely on persuasion and incentives to push city workers to get inoculated. But the Kenney administration is not ruling out a vaccine requirement, said Kenney spokesman Joy Huertas in an email. We will continue to assess the need to implement a vaccination mandate for our city workers and may make this a requirement at a future date. Some city employees began returning to their offices on July 6th and others earlier than that. Approximately 2,200 full-time city employees were working predominantly remotely as of June. The city has 27,402 employees. Wow. Remote work will likely continue for many departments. The city's virtual work policy allows up to 3 days of remote work per week for employees. Each department can establish its own remote work schedules based on its operational needs. The Kenney administration does not anticipate any cost saving from employees working remotely. So, okay, so let me just see what's going on here. Let's see. Viola. Hi, Viola. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on, sis?
We're in between the alert. Do you hear the alert?
No, I don't.
Okay, the alert was on my phone, and it's about to storm. It's just as great out here as anything. It's starting to rain. But I had to call just to say that I wish you all the traveling mercies and safety on the road and in the air.
Thank you, my sister.
I mean, that guy, what was his name? Michael Moore?
I
I mean, he was fantastic.
That was Marcus Moore. Wasn't he wonderful? He was so wonderful.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
I couldn't leave the house when he came on. and looking at your expression and the other lady, I mean, I said, oh, my gosh, look at them. I mean, he is just out of this world. Because mostly everything that I learned between the Black National Anthem, my mother taught me that because they sang it at Harrison Elementary School at 12th and Thompson. So I didn't have to worry about learning certain things. When I went to Olney High in the 60s and the white folks were there, I already knew what to expect from some and some that would become your friends. I was taught that way before I got to Olney. And I lived in North Philly where a lot of Spanish kids grew up when I went to Ferguson Elementary over in North Philly. So I learned so much between nationalities and all. My mother was one of the few black folks that went to Mass Bomb back in I guess the early 40s. So she brought stories home to us when we were young. But I mean, he was just fantastic. And it's just so much. You know, I go in and out a few times with certain folks down here in Delaware. I ignore them. But those that speak, I speak. Those that hold the door, I thank them, you know, over and over again. So, I mean, I just had to call and just say something based on the fact of the things that I was taught, where I learned it at. And my children were taught between myself and my husband being from West Virginia. His mother could tell you all the history about West Virginia and Virginia, or why they were separated, why it became two states. And a lot of people don't know that, because if I say West Virginia, they say, oh, Virginia. So I said, no, I said West Virginia, not Virginia. There's two different states. And so many folks don't know that certain things are two different. I talked with a lady at USAA today about my checking account, and I surely introduced her to WURD Radio and told her how many stations that are black-owned in the United States, and that she got to look at 4word.com. And she said, oh, I didn't know that. And she was in Louisiana. So when you call different companies, you never know where you're calling. But I told her about the station that I think is owned by Stevie Wonder in California, and the black station that Pastor Nick joined in with last Wednesday. I told her about that station.
In Chicago,
Yes, in Chicago. But I let her know that she has to check out WURD. And I told her, I said, there's a lady on there named Andrea, and you have to listen to her while you're at work in the afternoon between 1 and 4. And she said, I will check that out. She was young. She looked like, she sounded like she might have been maybe under 30 years old. But I'm always, you know, if I don't have a WURD shirt on, I have a WURD sticker in my window, so wherever I go, somebody's going to say,
Miss Viola, and that's why you all are so important to me, because you literally are carrying the mantle for this radio station. It behooves us to always treat you guys well. Always.
I feel very important. I listen to WURD, and I get a lot of information. And one of my kids will say, oh, where'd you get that from? Where? I said, that's right. I said, because that's what you need to be listening to, at least in between the music stations. You need to turn on WURD. You know, but it's okay. But I tell you, I hope that the Lord allows me to live a long time so I can continue to pay and listen. And I'll tell you about my procedure that I'm going to have later on. It's so funny that you got a relative that just finished.
Well, you know how to reach me inbox on Facebook. I talk to you all the time, so that's good.
Yeah. But like I said, the Lord has taken care of me so far, and He's going to keep on taking care of me. So I will be fine. And, you know, I mean, anytime you go into anesthesia, it's serious.
Yes.
But I look at it that I will be okay, and I will come back home.
Yes.
But you have a great trip.
I will. Thank you, Viola. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
But I will surely let you know wherever I go, because I really want to go to Arkansas to the hot springs.
Yeah. So you know what? You did talk about that. And so Arkansas, hold on, I need to add that to my list, because I'm going to be driving across the country, and I one of the things that I want to do is Arkansas, Hot Springs, hold on, Gullah Island, I'm going to be doing that.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
going to do
yes.
whitewater rafting in West Virginia. I'm going to meet some people out there. Yes, honey, Marva is.
Well,
When I tell you, so because I think
if you go to Mount Hope, out of Beckley, West Virginia, because that's where most of it is. That's
okay.
my husband's first house is right up the street from the River Gorge Bridge.
Okay. Because one of the things that I want to do is to my mother and father and my siblings, even to this day, I mean, I'm the oldest of 4 girls, Viola. They would say, why are you always so out there doing different things? I said, because I want to expose people to other things of life versus just jumping on a plane and go sitting on an island somewhere. We can all do that. And I say that with tongue in cheek because Jamaica is one of the most beautiful places on earth. So I grew up there and I know what that is like to experience that. But I want to experience this country in ways that we often ignore. There's so much to see and do here. So much. So I've interviews set up, and I'm so excited all across this country. It's wonderful.
Right. The way I travel is the way my mother traveled with us. But she didn't have a car. We would get dropped off in Brooklyn at my aunt's, and we would hit every beach in New York. I went cross country a number of times with my mom, driven to Oklahoma back in 1976 with her. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And my children do the same thing. They do the same thing with their children. They had husbands that didn't go nowhere with their families, so they are taking their husbands to places that they've never been to, right here in the United States of America.
Right. And I'm grateful, and I'm also very grateful to my husband, who is so kind, and I know you've got to do this. He understands that my soul craves this, and that as a direct result, it's opening doors for me. So he, I'm not going to say he allows, because my husband said, "Can't nobody stop you, including me, and nobody should stop you, including yourself." He tells me that all the time. Never let anybody stop you, including yourself, from doing what you know you're drawn and given to do. It's nice though to have him in the background, holding down the house, making sure everything is okay here while I go do what makes my soul sing and happy. So people think that I'm going on a vacation. Phyllis Williams, I'm not, this is not a vacation. It's not a vacation. I'm literally working, but you know me, I can take work and make it fun out of the yazoo. So I will be posting quite a bit about the different things that I'm doing. I see the first place that I'm going to be is in Martha's Vineyard, and I see my friend Lorraine said that she's found some trails, so I'll be able to exercise, talk about those trails. Barack Obama bought a house there, and so just a whole lot of stuff getting ready to happen on that island. And so we're just trying to manage and figure out work and enjoy ourselves a little bit at the same time. I'm covering the Martha's Vineyard Black Film Festival, so that's the first thing that I'm going to be doing. And then we'll go from there, right? So, but thank you, Miss Viola. Talk to you soon. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Do whatever you want to do with the mind tells you.
Yes, ma'am. I most certainly will. I appreciate you. Take it easy.
And your husband will be there when you come back, and so will Woody.
Yes, indeed. I can't come. I can't.
Woody cracks me up. I'm gonna call him up one day because he gave out his number. I'm gonna call him. But you have fun.
Yes, ma'am. I'll talk to you soon, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ooh, I'm getting tired of you. You don't never buy me nothing. See, every time you come around, you got to bring Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone. Hi, Tyrone.
Hey, mother. Soon as you come back, I'm going to go buy you something so you can take that line out. He don't never buy me nothing. and Mother Earth, let me just say this. I don't care all that flowery stuff and that gooey stuff that Woody talked to you about. He's still behind me. Woody, you're still behind me. You're not going to get in front of me.
Oh, God. How are you, honey? What's going on?
Good. Hey, Mother, I just want to, lift you up and push you forward, knowing that You're going to do some marvelous things, and when you come back, boy, we're going to have stories after stories after
I can
stories.
only imagine.
And again, just keeping my young folks abreast of how they can do the things that you would do. Because we got so many young folks that never go off their block. So
hey, Tyrone, did you hear the interview that I had with the young people from Bringing Everybody Together on Tuesday?
Yes. Oh, man.
Oh.
Fabulous.
That was
Fabulous.
amazing.
Fabulous.
That
And,
was just.
And then Brother Jonathan said he's gonna have his drone follow you. So this Brother Jonathan Lee.
He said, what? He going to have his what follow me?
His drone. And this brother is one of the premier brothers in this city that, making sure that our young folks get into STEM education. Hold on.
Okay.
How you doing, sister? God bless your mind.
How you doing, sir? What's going on?
Just trying to make a difference with no hidden agenda. Trying to encourage and push our people into science, technology, engineering, and math careers. We got to go against this grain of murder, selling drugs, building prison system, building up the casket industry. And so as you travel around the world, just share that message that there's some great opportunities that our race of people are not capitalizing on.
I agree.
Whether it's the drone industry,
I agree, sir.
whether it's artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, animation. You go in any hospital in Philadelphia, sad to say, you'll see most of the blacks working in housekeeping, dietary, and security. Not in the medical profession, etc. And we need to invert that equation. And when we invert that equation, we give our kids the support in the back end where they can say to the drug dealers, not wanted here.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your jumping in and chiming in, okay?
As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, that we have no time to waste.
You got that right.
We got no time to waste. This ain't no game. We're building up the prison industry. We're making our senior citizens frown and be discouraged constantly with this behavior. These individuals, their brains were altered. They're functioning in canine mode. We don't teach about the human brain. Our churches are closed every day, but Sunday they need to be open every day, giving us a place to teach people and train people. And a lot of our folks that are making a lot of money, they aren't putting anything back.
Right.
Whether it's basketball, whether it's the music industry, you have to beg them, chase down their foundation for some pennies. And they have mansions in Malibu, California, the islands, etc. So, we got to stop playing games. Get real serious. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, people that sacrifice so we can be part of this very day.
Yeah. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. God bless you. Talk to you soon, okay?
So Mother, that's why he said he's going to have his drone, kind of figure where your location going to be. So
Listen,
that way...
My husband barely can keep up with me. What I do is I share, when I'm traveling, I share my location with my husband so he can see where I'm traveling as I go along, so that he doesn't worry, because he knows better than to, try to, Andrea can't, just follow along with the location, just follow where I'm going. Yeah, all right. And I talk to him several times during the day, and he makes sure we're okay, make sure we have enough coins to do what we need to do, and so this is good. I'm married to the best man on earth, y'all. You just don't even know.
That's it. That's it. Well, and don't leave the other part out. He's married to the best woman on earth, so don't leave that out.
I know. Listen, Tyrone, he could debate that because he thinks he has a girlfriend named Menopause,
Oh, Mother, stop, Mother, stop it. Well, look, Mother, enjoy and grow and share, and we really appreciate who you are, and we know it's going to be magnificent, because that's all you is, nothing but magnificent.
Thank you.
So you are a phenomenal woman, and I know there are going to be phenomenal things that you're going to do, and we're going to be waiting, twiddling our thumbs.
Yes, and
come on back, Andre.
Tyrone, I'm coming back to Philly because I got a great husband here. If I wasn't married, y'all would be hard-pressed to find my behind. gone. I'm living like a nomad. Bye.
Love you, mother.
Love you too, my brother. Take it easy, okay?
Take care. Enjoy.
All
please.
right. All right. Bye-bye.
Enjoy and light and do all the stuff. That's right.
Yes.
God bless.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye. Tell Reverend Joe to hold on for me. Let me take a quick break, and then I'll be back with him, right? This summer is the perfect time to come out and come up. If you are looking for a job, you've got to check out our new livelihood job portal. Some of Philadelphia's top companies want you, our WURD listeners, to apply. We've got jobs in marketing, customer service, tech, and more. Go to the livelihood job portal right now and check out jobs. Apply at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Build skills needed for employment through the Philadelphia Skills Forward Initiative, a free upskilling program for workers displaced by the pandemic, those whose jobs are at risk for automation, and Black and brown workers. Complete courses focused on digital literacy, career management, and professional skills for a successful career. Get started today at chamberphl.com. Tune in this Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. for the Islam Today show, with a perspective on moral guidance and Islamic principles and values.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who will make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Reverend Joe, how are you?
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't heard from you in a while. How
well,
you
I'm
doing?
working on a book on the history of gospel music during the civil rights movement. I got to get that book finished as soon as we can. There's a museum in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, that has all the black music. It's a black music, African-American music museum. So I've got to submit that. And I had to mention this because I haven't heard, well, maybe someone to mention, Mr. Uptown, Mr. Sam Reed, the music director and band leader at the Uptown Theater. Anybody listening over 60 years old, that was part of growing up in North Philly, going to the Uptown. Every professional, famous person living sang at the Uptown. And he just died at the funeral this Saturday. Sam Reed, he's a very famous musician, plus the band leader and conductor. I don't know if you would know about him. But,
no, I wouldn't. Is the book that you're writing covering all of this stuff? Because you have so much history inside of you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's about myself and the Dick Bird, traveling with the Dick Bird, flying with the birds. Some of the greatest stories never told. It's what we went through with doing the civil rights movement. And a lot of people are not aware of, a lot of young people are not aware of that fact. But that made the civil rights movement, the music. So I'm trying to, all that history of all the rock and roll groups, African American music made a difference in this world.
Yes, it
period.
So, does and is. Yes, it does. And yes, it is. All the time. Thank you so much, Reverend Joe, for calling in. I'll talk to you in September, God willing. And
God bless you. Okay? Be safe. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, let me see. I think I have one more person. Dwayne from Southwest. How are you?
Yes, how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on, brother?
Same old thing. Reverend Joe Williams, he's a good pastor.
Yes.
Yes, and then you know what? He's the only one of few I see doing anything.
Right.
Rest of them, a lot of them, I don't see them doing nothing. And the one got these big churches. He's right. How come they open on Sundays only?
Right.
And it's something strange about that. So, we got, like you said, we got to stop playing. I'm not talking about you, but we got to stop, playing around because this is a serious time.
Right.
And these churches should be open on every single day. All right. Okay. Thanks a lot.
That's all you call for. See, you just listen. That was 30 seconds. I love it. All right.
No, I didn't want. I figured other people wouldn't get on the line. I didn't want. I didn't want to hold them up.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You have a good day.
Have a good one. You too, my brother.
All right.
Bye-bye. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Here we go. So I talked about Kenny, and he's not going to give people the vaccines. And, I don't know. So, when I was on the air on Tuesday, I was telling you about the fact that I saw a hit and run. I'm having this craziest hot flash. My God, my whole body feels flushed. This is terrible. It's terrible. What is going on with us? All right. So in Trap, PA, authorities have charged this. This is written by Tim Jimenez, Andrew Kramer, and Jim Melward from KYW News Radio. Authorities have charged the man they think is responsible for a drug-fueled crime spree after a woman was struck and killed with a stolen car in the Graduate Hospital neighborhood during a bizarre series of hit-and-runs early Wednesday morning, stretching from Center City, Philadelphia to western Montgomery County. Kareem Welton, 40, faces charges of attempted murder and aggravated assault in Montgomery County. Police said he was involved in 3 other hit-and-runs that left several people hurt. My Lord. Cops say they took Welton into custody in the borough of Trap, Montgomery County, after he hit a man jogging along Main Street in Collegeville. Around 6 a.m., the jogger stepped off the sidewalk to let another pedestrian pass just as Welton allegedly crossed over into oncoming traffic and hit him. Police said he was driving about 20 miles over the posted speed limit. The jogger was alert when police arrived on the scene, though he had suffered a broken spine, oh my God, and fractures to his ribs and one of his legs. Police believe Walton later ditched the car at a gas station in Trap before getting on a bicycle. At some point, police caught up with him on the bike and arrested him. Hours later, the car was found still running with the radio on. Welton was impaired with psychedelic drugs and marijuana based on a test trooper administered to him, according to a criminal complaint. So let me think. Sandra, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Everyone. I'm so excited about your program and the WURD.
Thank you.
It is awesome. I had to say something. I've called in one time before when you had someone on and she wrote a children's book. And I had her invited to my Women's History Month event and had her come as one of my guests. And she was able to promote her children's book. And I was so happy about that. But I'm happy about all of your guests. Reverend Joe, I know he is awesome. His church I attended many years ago, and when I get a chance to do it again, I will. The most wonderful thing is networking. And Tyrone said to me one day from your program that he hoped I was listening, that I was like a network queen. And I connect people with people, business with business, organization with organizations. And for Reverend Joe, I have some Dixie Hummingbird pictures I can help him with. I have a few that I've had in the last couple of years where the Dixie Hummingbirds wrote a book, and I had them come to the library and promote their book. So I'm just going to say I commend you. And the program with the children, the young man that speaks, he's wonderful. I've seen him on a network with Mr. Washington before, and he's excellent. And your program today, I missed. I can't stop. I'm so excited. I can't even stop for the excitement that I have. And believe me, I am so excited about Mr. Marcus Moore.
Marcus Moore was amazing. He was amazing.
I am so excited. And it's almost like I know Tyrone. I know Reverend Joe. I seem like I know Maurice. I seem like
Woody
I know George, Chris. I seem like I know our Barbara. I mean, I've met so many people. So I'm just going to continue. And I must tell you that I'm so excited because I feel like every day I wake up and I'm ready for the next day at 78 and a half, that I am just networking on the phone everywhere with everything I do, connecting people, and continue to do that.
That is
and I just love it. And you're so special, and your guests, the people that call, and they are wonderful. You learn something for everybody that you have on, as calling in and them speaking as a talk show, just as well as that. And my card says the art of conversationality, because I speak to everyone from every culture and every person from every age, because you learn from every age. And it's from the bus, the train, the plane, no matter what you do, walking in the bank line, and everywhere you go, you must be able to communicate. And that's what we're missing so much now, that we're not able to communicate the way we should. But it's going to come back. And everything I'm saying is from my heart, because I have no speech. I'm just excited. And you come back to us, because I must see you and meet you one day and let you know all the connections I have. And I'm ready for more all the time. So thank you for
so
giving
much.
me a chance to say something.
Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor? Can you not only continue to love on people as you meet them, but leave them a little bit better than when you found them? Can you do that for me?
Can you say that a little louder for me?
I say, not only do I want you to continue to meet and love on people, I would love you to do this for me. Leave them a little bit better than when you found them.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I tried to. And let me just say this. From 12 o'clock a.m. to 2 a.m. or 3, people who need to talk to somebody, my business people, I answer the call for them. Because I never know where they are in life, that they may need a person.
Yes.
So no matter what we do, people, no matter what we can do, always be open to listen to someone, and you can help anybody out here. I love you all. I don't know you all, but I love you all, and I love you, WURD.
See, Miss Sandra, that's the way I feel about you all. I don't know. I have not met some of you, but when I get up every day, especially on the days when it's the toughest, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I'm dealing with people dying, all sorts of things going on around me. And I'm like, what can I offer the WURD listeners today? And I sit down. I don't just sit in front of the computer 2 minutes before I have to go on the air. I start doing research. I start asking questions. I start saying to my husband, send me some articles. Let me see what's going on. I watch the news. I take notes for you all. Like, I take this so seriously, right? You would think I work for NPR. I'm telling you, it's a serious thing for me to not only love on you all, but to give you what I think you may need in that moment beyond myself. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I have a composition book out when I'm listening, and I listen to other programs on WURD. And Miss Viola and I will be, and I call her Miss WURD. We're talking at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning about WURD.
Oh, wow. I'm still trying to. So what I'm still trying to do, Miss Sandra, is try to figure out why my show is not showing up after it stopped airing live on YouTube. It just disappears, and people want to watch. Some people are not on Facebook, and it's not showing up on YouTube. But after it finished airing live, I don't see it. It just disappears into thin air. I see the other shows. I see the guys. I see Solomon. I see Mark. I see all of them. Reverend Mark Tyler. I see their shows. I just don't see the other shows, and mine is one of them. And I want to make sure that people have something to go back and look forward to, because some of these conversations are wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Well,
you're not going to have today's show. Oh my goodness! What about today? They have to fix that immediately.
Yeah, well, it's on today on YouTube, but they just don't, because, right. So I don't see my show after the show ends. Like, I go on YouTube, and I look, and I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know where it is. I don't know where my shows disappear to. So, maybe they'll play it overnight on the air on the radio, because I don't, so I get off the air, I'm a typical Jamaican, got all sorts of things going on, and so I try to stay focused on one thing at a time. So once I get off the air at 4 o'clock today, all things WURD is going to shut down, so I can focus on all the things that I have to do for the next 4.5 weeks. 4.5 weeks, I'm going to be running like a chicken, but it's going to be a good chicken, and I'm going to be cute, because I designed my clothes, so I designed the stuff that I'm going to wear. Wait until you all say this stuff. Fabulous, Miss Sandra, fabulous.
This is fabulous. But you know what I think? That after each show, they should say what time the replay would be on in the nighttime, because I'm trying to listen to the replay in the nighttime and don't know exactly
when
what
it's
time
coming
the replay comes on.
Well, I'm hoping someone from the WURD management is listening to you talk, and we'll be able to at least say to people, this show is coming on. And I think they do. I think they put in a timetable what show is coming on when. I have to go back and take a look, and when I find it, if I find it, I'll ask Dee or Tiffany Bacon to tell me what show comes on when, because I know you all are listening overnight, because I see Viola said Sandra calls sometimes me in the wee hours of the morning. Why y'all up at 1 and 2 o'clock? What you doing?
Talking about WURD.
All right, I got to go. I love you all. See you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, so Dana says, I see your videos on YouTube, Andrea. Look under the videos tab. Thank you, my sister. See, I love you all. I love you all. Because I'm like, where the heck are the videos? I don't see them. All right, so let me take Ron quickly from North Philly, and then we're going to have Dr. M. Oh, my God. And I have Brother X. Brother X, how you doing?
You got me?
I got you.
Oh, well, thanks for taking this call, my young
Who was this, Ron or Brother X? Who am I talking to?
This Brother X.
How you doing, sir? You got 2 minutes. What's up?
I'm doing without. Now, be very careful and very aware at all times when you move around this country. We are under a relentless assault. They are attacking us all over the country. They all supposed to do something at a certain time or if they get the opportunity. Now, there's a big announcement out about the NBA in Africa, and Barack Bush is behind it. I want the slaves to think about this. Gaddafi was doing great things in Africa. He put up the satellite for the Africans to have internet. He was trying to bring fresh water into Africa. Gaddafi reached out to Barack Bush, trying to make him a friend. I guess Gaddafi had got old and know Barack Bush was Uncle Tom. So Gaddafi reached out to Barack Bush. What do Barack Bush do? He go and murders Gaddafi. Sit Africa back forever. A lot of them over there don't know it. But the assassination of Gaddafi has sit Africa back forever. Now pay attention to what's happening in Africa and how they are moving in. The Chinese, American, Belgium, they are all moving in. Africa is going to be the next United States. But the blacks here will not be here. That's the next America over there. So I want the Negroes stop praising Barack Bush, living up there in his mansion in Massachusetts, the murdered Gaddafi who reached out for him. Also, they said Gaddafi had hundreds of Africans working in Libya. They was killed, and many of them was lynched. While this Negro run around playing games with us. And all you black people who love Nelson Mandela so much in South Africa. And we was telling y'all he was nothing but a puppet. Look at South Africa now. Nelson gone. Wendy gone.
Okay, all right. So Brother X, I got to take Ron, and then I got to go on commercial and have somebody waiting. But I want to thank you for calling in. You made a point that all right. Thank you, my brother. Take it easy. Brother X made a point. I have been, again, talking to the younger folks from Africa, from South Africa, and the way we have idolized Nelson Mandela is not the way they see it. It's funny. We tend to hear people talking because we don't agree with what they say. We shut them down. But when there's always a grain of truth into the things that the people are saying. So one day when I have a moment, and there were some fellows from different countries around Africa that was here at what is the university? I'm looking at it. LaSalle? No, it's not LaSalle. Drexel University. And they were here for an internship. And my friend Mary Lou had them. And I sat and talked to all of them about what was going on in their respective countries. And they gave me some whole insight that made me go, wow. So it's always good, to pay attention beyond what we see and hear in the news and really ask the people who live in these places what's going on. Your mind would be blown. Ron from North Philly, I got 3 minutes I got to give to you, and then I got to take Dr. Emparu. Okay? I can't hear you, sir.
I want to say, may God be with you. Until we meet again. We keep you in his arms securely close. Until we meet again at Jesus' feet. May you be blessed. As far as Sam Reed is concerned, he brought so much joy to this city. I don't care what show you went to, this song he would always play. Come to the uptown. So I'm just saying, let us look life with seriousness, enjoy, and remember this. Always, WURD listeners, always look on the bright side of life. The bright side of life, because even if we know, life common core denominator is death. But death is no more than a punctuation mark that put a comma to this period. We are one. And let us look with all the things that we are faced with. And I close with this. Dr. King said we got some difficult days, but we heard your ancestors say these words. There's a bright side somewhere. Don't you stop until you find it. It's not going for all. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Brother Ron. Thank you. What a great way. Love y'all. I absolutely. Let me just make sure that I don't have to do anything else while I'm waiting for Dr. Empara. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break, and then Dr. Empara will be the last guest that you hear today. I've only had two. Deborah Keyes Wright with Marcus Moore about critical race theory, and now Dr. Emparu, who I really believe is critical in this conversation. While I am gone for the month of August, she will continue to check in at 3:40 every Thursday because this variant is spreading, and I want to make sure that we get as much information as we can from someone who is involved and knows what's happening on the ground level and at the federal level. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. This last segment is coming up after these messages.
What's up, Philly? It's Sincerely Sarita. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1, a world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2, a laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet and learning materials, all provided at no cost to you. 3, a safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
Tune in every Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Did You Know Show with host Bryant Green, right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't? I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Over a decade, Dr. Anuli Emparu has been recognized as a physician and surgeon who practices compassionate, evidence-based medicine. This is the part of her bio that I love, and I love to read it. Upon completion of her undergraduate education at Texas Lutheran University. She attended Columbia University, where she graduated with a Master of Science in Human Nutrition. She went on to graduate from Duke University of Medicine, where she won multiple awards, including an Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society Award. She was a research fellow at the Center for Orthopedic Research at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons, and on and on. And father, I love reading that. I'm like, woo, you super, super smart. I was sharing with them, Dr. Emparu, that my niece, 22 years old, just finished her boards and became a doctor. So she's going into plastic surgery, yes. And my nephew, yes. And my nephew, who is 25, graduated about a year and a half ago. He is in orthopedic surgery. So he's taking over from my brother-in-law's orthopedics practice at some point, I'm assuming. And my sister, who's been, We in our family, we're just really all about it. We're all about it. We be about it. Going to be about it all the time. So when I talk to you, I'm just so excited because we celebrate smartness. We celebrate wanting to learn and to grow and to see what's going on around us. And so, you know, you're going to be very important in the next, not only in the upcoming weeks, but I swear into the next few months, because the Delta variant has been spreading. We've been having conversations with people who have only taken one vaccine, will not take another one. They believe that the one vaccine is enough. I have had friends who got COVID, thought that was just enough, and they don't need to take the vaccine. I've had friends who have gotten COVID not once, not twice, but 3 times. Third time almost took them completely out of here. And the Delta variant is 1,000% more virulent than the original COVID. Listen, let me just stop talking. Hold on one second, Dr. Emparu. Then I see Joanne Kemp over here on YouTube saying, please wear your mask correctly. I see so many people with their masks under their noses. From what I can gather, the virus can enter at points of entry, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and don't touch it once it's on. Help us, please.
I'll start with that. Please wear your masks correctly. Cover your nose and your mouth. I heard one person, a friend of mine actually, on a WhatsApp, announcing to the group that it was okay to not cover your nose. All you had to do was cover your mouth when you were speaking. The nose is fine. I'm like, no, that's not true. You know, so please cover your nose and your mouth. This is a problem. So I personally think a few things have happened. So initially, people were afraid. They didn't want to die. And were more so, I think, willing to get the vaccine. I think now that our lives are kind of better, you know, because we are traveling, and I think the anxiety has maybe dissipated, and I think people have somewhat forgotten how bad things were such a short while ago. I personally feel that's a lot of what's driving people saying they're not going to take it. You need both doses. The study has shown that the protection from 2 doses is clinically significant and clinically more than 1. And if there were a problem with this vaccine, people have been taking it since last year. Do you know how many people would have had problems? A lot of, like, it's not episodic. It's not, I know 1 or 2 people who took it and had a problem. If the vaccine is inherently problematic, any of them, a ton of people, because so many people have taken it. So the fact that, and then they gave, you know, clinical people in a pandemic, like government would not be trying to hurt clinical people at a time when it needs them the most. So please, 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 the people who are getting the Delta virus are by far and large, greater than 90% in every state. Some 93, some 97, some 95. They are the unvaccinated people. And the people who are getting sick, by far and large, the people who are passing on, sadly, by far and large, are also the unvaccinated. So please, please, please get the vaccine.
Here's the other thing. So we've heard of breakthrough. The virus has broken through some of the folks who have been vaccinated. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Right. So viruses inherently mutate. So a virus is an obligate parasite. What does that mean? It comes into your cell and takes over your own cell's mechanism for replication and uses your own cells. What a beast of an organism. Uses your own cell's mechanism to reproduce itself. it can't survive without you. So as a result, it's very hardy. It is always trying to find a way to outdo your immune system. They replicate quickly as a result. And this, in a way, is not news, right? Because we take the flu vaccine every year. Why? Because the strain of one, it can be changed a little bit. So that part isn't rare. And then we have variants, and we have variants because it still exists. The virus will continue to mutate. And if we don't get to a place where we achieve herd immunity, and once again, why does herd immunity work? If the vast majority of us are vaccinated, then the transmission is so incredibly low that even the unvaccinated who are sick and cannot get vaccinated are protected, because the vast majority of people are not going to get the disease. But when we don't allow ourselves get there, guess what's going to happen? We are going to get epsilon. We are going to get another strain. And we are going to, as long as it's around, it will continue to mutate. So we really, and that's what's going on. The thing is trying to survive. And because we haven't really tackled it and significantly been able to get herd immunity that significantly curbs it, it will continue to mutate. This won't be the last if we don't get vaccinated, wear masks, and do all the things that we should do. So that's why we have a new variant. And unfortunately, if we don't take care, this won't be the last one.
Okay. Dr. Empara, that's about all we can talk about, because I don't know what else to tell to people. Put your masks back on, wear them properly, continue. I see people walking out of bathrooms not washing their hands, just fingers up nostrils, sneezing into their hands, sneezing into the air, just all sorts of. I just don't understand why we have such short-term memories when it comes to, cleanliness. We can stop a lot of these things. And I saw Awesomely Lovey the other day on Facebook talking about some actor or actress said they didn't bathe their children for 12 however many days because it dries their skin out, and until they see dirt. Child, she went in with no Vaseline. So I just want to thank you so much for always being here. Thank you for continuing to show up on the Thursdays when I'm not here. And God willing and the creek don't rise, I will see you in September. Okay?
Stay safe and be healthy. And we are actually seeing patients entirely remotely now because that's how seriously I'm taking it.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Empara.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. I will. Thank you. Bye-bye. So we're coming to the end of this episode of The Source. So as much as I am looking forward to going off into parts known and unknown, I am going to miss all of you, but I promise you this: when I come back on the air, should I be granted the grace to return to WURD radio, because I always like to make sure that you all realize that anything can happen at any time, and if I am here and that is wonderful, I'm happy to be here. If not, if things change and I'm not here, just know that I've always cared about all of you, always loved what you've brought to this radio station, just always thought of how magnificent you are as a people. I've always been very proud to be called one of you. Proud, to stand with you, proud to laugh with you, proud to even cry with you, to hug you and to tell you that it's going to be okay. It is what has brought us so far. For so long, and I could not have done this and been where I am without you. I've learned lessons with you. I know it sounds like I'm never coming back, and that's not true. I'm just, we never know what tomorrow may bring. If something happens to me out on the road, God forbid, you will understand that I truly appreciated and cared for each and every one of you. The good times, the not so good times, the times when I wasn't sure if this was what I wanted to continue doing, the times when I got off the air and cried, the time when I got on the air and cried when Leah died and I could barely catch my breath, and you all loved me to a place of calmness. When I had to go through Leah's funeral and her sister asked me to be the one that ran her funeral, I'm not a preacher. I'd never done anybody's funeral before, helped carry her casket to the grave. These are life-changing things that I don't know how I will ever recover from, which I think is just going to be my new normal. But all of you have been in a great place of just saying, it's okay, mother. It's okay. It's going to be all right. We got you. People were dropping things off at my door. People were calling. You all I just want you to know how special you all are. When Greengrocer, when they're over on City Line Avenue, and we were all out there, and I just, talked to all of you, and you all showed up, and I was hugging with you and dancing with you, and just grateful to see you all, even when we had to still wear our masks. I want you all to get accustomed to making sure that you continue to embrace this new normal. Stop worrying about not being able to wear your mask, and don't wear the same mask over and again. You can get a pack of 100 masks for $8.99 on Amazon, and in the stores are just about giving them away. So go stock up on your masks. Please wear them. Please continue to wash your hands carefully. For those of you who are following me on social media, you'll be able to see quite a bit of what I am doing, because I also like to share with you where I am and where I'm going and and what I'm doing. Oftentimes, please be aware of this. You will never see it live and in real time unless I'm going live to do a live update. I very, very rarely do that. I literally will share with you where I was the day before, the day after. So you think you're seeing it in real time, but you're not. And I do that purposefully so that people, anybody with bad intentions can't track me. And so it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. I just want you all to know that you're loved, you are appreciated, that you are to continue to update your forward membership, that you'll continue to love on the folks that are here every day, showing up unapologetically Black to give you what you need to have. Mike, love you and Brianna. I'll talk to you and see you all soon. Coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, y'all. I'll see you in September. Bye.